Hello, listeners, and welcome to the Pod Fruit One Piece Through New Eyes. On today's episode, we'll be discussing Volume 17, titled Hiriluk's Cherry Blossoms. Volume 17 covers chapters 146 through 155. I am the host, Michael, and with me as always we have our One Piece rookies, V and Dylan.
Greetings, stranger.
A quick reminder to join us on Twitter, Instagram, and Discord for all the latest announcements, information, and fun. On Twitter, we are at PodFruit. Instagram, it's PodFruit, and our Discord is linked in the description. We would love it if you gave us a follow and a review. Let us know what you like or what you don't. We love feedback. Anything you guys want to get off your chest before we hop in? Your metaphorical chest, if I may?
Yeah. Again. I guess I'm going to keep my impressions for final impressions.
Sure, yeah.
But it was a good one? With caveats?
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
That's what I'm going to say.
With that, let's begin. I wrote this summary myself. No thanks to anyone else. All me. In this volume, the battle between Wapol and Luffy and his friends begins. Luffy fights Wapol, while Chopper takes on the combined forces of Kuramarimo and Chess, known as Chess Marimo. Chopper unveils his Rumble Ball technique, which allows him to transform into more forms to combat these lackeys, finding their weak spot and finally defeating them. Luffy chases Wapol into the castle, where the deposed king flees, seeking stronger weapons. Luffy corners him in a room with a massive gun, and Wapol attempts to shoot Luffy, but Luffy is too fast. Luffy finishes Wapol with a huge attack, sending him flying into the distance. Back in town, the 20 doctors of Drum Kingdom restore Dalton to consciousness. The remaining Straw Hats, along with Dalton and some villagers, rush to the castle to join the fray, but arrive moments after Wapol's defeat. The Straw Hats recruit Chopper to be the crew's doctor. They then set off full speed to Alabasta. Finally, it is revealed a mysterious individual named Ace has visited Drum Kingdom, looking for Blackbeard and Luffy. And that is a summary of Volume 17. So, today, Dylan is going to be our master of ceremony, the one to start things off here with Chapter 146. And, Dylan, go for it when you're ready.
Take it away.
Alrighty. Yeah, and on the cover page, it's something like I kind of loosely noticed last time, but this time, especially coming into forward, you'll see it for sure. The guy dancing against Django's full body.
Wait a minute.
Because like I was kind of seeing in the later cover pages, it just flat out like shows you. But like I had like a slightest little tiny bit of a hunch. And the last time I was like, that kind of looks like him. And then this time it showed out.
Cover stories, but I don't remember them getting into a dance contest or anything.
Because in a couple chapters, you'll kind of see him closer up and you'll be like, oh yeah, that's him.
I did not make that association at all.
Yeah, we open the chapter, we get to see Wapol go flying. Always a good time. But they catch him this time. But I love the shot on page 4, top panel. Mm-hmm. Where it's just Livy's like, fucking, finally.
Mm-hmm. Finally.
I get to cut loose and just start beating some
He's been holding out for so long. Bro's itching.
And the thing is, like, I was well behaved for dinner. Now I get to act like a little shit.
Now I get dessert.
Because that's the energy I get from him.
He's gonna take off his clothes and run around naked, man. That's what I would have done.
And like smear shit on the walls.
That's what you do now, Michael.
Stop.
Shut up, you're not supposed to tell me.
What happens on the cruise stays on.
Okay.
And I just like, because then like. Chess and Marimo are like, oh, he's the king, you can't hit the king. While they're sitting there yelling at him and scolding him, they finally realize it's like they're just having a conversation amongst themselves and ignoring the shit out of him.
Wait, where's this?
That is bottom panel, page 5. Because they're like, oh, you should feel so bad. And like they just have like a side conversation, not paying any attention.
This isn't the first time they've done this to villains, right? Like, this is at least the second time that I remember.
I can't remember the last time, but I think you're right.
Yeah.
And the cherry on top of that is Wapol starts throwing his temper tantrum, like he's starting to have his evil monologue. You better tell the truth, my wife. I will eat you alive.
Oh God.
And then it's like, can you wait a minute? He went to go get some like a coat. He's kind of cold.
He was feeling a bit chilly.
Yeah, it's just like
he deserves every bit of disrespect.
Luffy brings the goose.
It's true.
He does.
I don't respect him.
Neither do I.
He's One Piece's Joffrey. And this is cool. This is kind of like, and then next page right after that, top two panels where Sanji's kind of having like an aside with Tony. I was like, yeah, he's a rubber band. He's like, what's that? It's like, basically, he's a monster. And Tony's like, huh? He's like, maybe I can have friends.
About to bust out crying right there.
Listen. don't start.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. Like,
I'm sure it is, but don't start right now.
I'll let you know from the very beginning what was coming. I'm talking episode 1.
Foreboding? Maybe.
Dylan recently mentioned that he went back to episode 0 and was like,
yeah.
I said I was going to talk
I said exactly what I said.
I told you I was coming in to dunk on this fool.
And you
That's
did.
exactly what I'm gonna do.
If you are surprised, go back, start over.
Yeah.
And then I thought, kind of just jumping around, because there's a lot of like in between the fight, there's just a lot of like, blah, 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 blah. A lot of information being explained. But I kind of liked how Marimo's stuff were disgusting at the same time.
Yep, my thoughts exactly.
The fact that it's like, it's hairballs that he can stick to people and then Chess sets them on fire. It's like, okay, cool, gross, and also, God, the smell. Wow, this burning hair is like the worst smell in the fucking world.
I don't hate it as much as probably most people do. But I also enjoy the smell of gasoline, so...
Well, a lot of stuff is starting to make a lot of sense.
I just huff it for fun. So.
I'm just sitting out here with the gas can in my garage, just having a good old time.
I knew you were a weirdo, Michael.
I don't think it's that weird. I think it's like one of those, like, 49% of the population things.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, the other 50%
Listeners, what do you think about the smell of burning hair and gasoline? Let us know.
Okay. Don't go sniffing gasoline.
Yeah, also don't do that.
If you don't know the smell.
Yeah.
If you inhale it really hard and a lot, you feel funny. I think I might.
Michael,
might actually.
We're not condoning this at all.
Back it up.
might have to cut that out of there. And again, it's just like, this is another, back to page 13. It's just more Luffy energy being very Luffy energy. Because he comes busting in Nami's room. She's like, what's going on? What's all the racket? It's like, it's just a fight. It's like, you don't need to. Is it serious? Nah, go back to sleep. I'm just looking for a jacket. It's like, you can wear mine, but it doesn't look cool. Okay, I'll take it.
Since when does Luffy care what looks cool? Well, I guess he likes mechs.
Look cool to him. But as Chess sets Sanji on fire, it's kind of cool seeing Tony coming for a big old hit on Chess. Gets eaten up by Wapol. I will admit the shots where Wapol is going in for a bite are really good. Yeah. It reminds me a lot of like some of the panels from Attack on Titan when they did like their perspective. Someone's like, "Oh shit, impending doom."
Yeah,
you might be on something.
It's like, I am going to die.
The Wit version, that's the animation studio who's taking on the remake, might kick this out of the park. Kickball versus baseball. I can
foresee that. Also, like the combo of Sanji slingshot and Luffy with the Amdelaire. That was the best attempt I could give it. And what I got confused is like, because when I first looked at like 17 as a whole, when it was originally like when the first panel of Wapol, the way he's looking, it's like, oh, he got hit. And then I was thinking like Luffy was, as he's hit, decided to start spinning violently. I was like, how does that work?
No, that's Chopper in his mouth.
Now, yeah. But now looking back at it, it's obvious that he's more shocked because he sees Luffy flying at him. Turns out Luffy invents rifling for this era. It's like, yeah, if you spin, you do a lot more damage.
We don't know if their guns are rifled or not.
For the most part, they're muskets. Muskets are traditionally. I think German muskets were rifled. And it's also fun to see Chopper go flying out of his mouth. And unfortunately, I forget his name, but Snow Cow Yeti thing sacrificed himself to save Wapol.
He takes a stray.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. And I love the anime, like the 90s like Pokemon animation trope, just a twink in the distance to represent he just got launched.
I love how quick V was with that name. Like it almost sounded mournful, like Robson.
I mean, I have a note on this.
And of course, right after that, Sanji immediately was like, "Wait, that's Nami's jacket. Take it off." If anyone's wearing her jacket, it's me! Then panel of Time for the Munch Mansion or Factory or whatever. Mutation. That was cool. I liked because going into it, some of those things are kind of cool concepts, but yeah, that's all I got.
Let's do it. Yeah, back to the intro image story. Django is the winner. I knew that he would win. The man has some moves. Clearly also powers of hypnotism. Maybe he cheated. Who knows? Conspiracy? I think not.
That's what all conspiracy theorists say.
Last episode, I was saying that this section in general, like the whole Drum Island thing kind of reminded me of Beauty and the Beast. The castle, like the threat moving forward towards the castle, and like I had also mentioned wanting Wapol to suffer a similar death as Gaston. And it almost happens right here. So in Beauty and the Beast, Gaston dies falling from the roof of the castle. And right here at page 3, we see Wapol's men holding him by the feet and preventing him from falling off the cliff. And I was like, oh, it really is like Beauty and the Beast, except it's for teenage boys instead of little girls, you know? Kind of to what Dylan was saying earlier, I love Luffy's face at the top of page 4 when he says that he doesn't have to hold back anymore. He looks so excited, like a child on Christmas Day. He wants to fuck shit up again. He's so happy about it. He's so happy about it that it's almost heartwarming. You're like, aw, he's so proud, and he's so happy, and he's so excited to be able to...
Go on, you go kick some ass, little guy.
Exactly.
You've earned it.
You did so good.
Ate all his vid.
But that's exactly... It's very childlike at the top of page 4. Sometimes I feel like, and kind of to that, expanding on our hero, sometimes I feel like Luffy's mind is running on dial-up. If you guys are old enough, you will remember dial-up internet. And yeah, so page 5 is a good example of that. Like, it takes him a few extra beats before he realizes everything. It's like he's always a little late at the information coming in, and it's giving dial-up internet. Like, oh yeah, actually it is cold. Like, a few seconds after being asked, are you cold? Yeah. That's also reminiscent of the early ages of the internet. Yeah, so the bottom of page 6, the balls on him going to get warmer clothes, though. It's so fucking Luffy of him, and I think Dylan also mentioned it, like, it's so Luffy. It's like it becomes its own way of being to be so Luffy. Like, that's such a Luffy thing to do. And that indeed was such a Luffy thing to do.
It leads to one of my favorite bits of this volume later on. We'll get to it, and I'll call it out, but him borrowing the jacket.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all I'll say for now.
Let's see. Yeah, so I have thoughts for the top of page 7, and I think part of it is going to change by the end of this volume, but at the time, it's the connotation of the word use. I feel like Sanji telling Chopper that Luffy is a monster is going to play in Chopper potentially joining the crew. I think it's meant to undo the negative connotation of the word monster, which was kind of prevalent in the previous volume. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not a word that needs to be associated with trauma anymore. That word can be used to define a quality and something that makes you... Yeah, exactly. That's exactly, and that's what we want to do with Chopper, is to heal him, right? That's like the mission statement, is to heal him. That's what Kureha wanted and Hiriluk wanted, is for him to be healed. And maybe that's something that's going to help. Yeah, I guess that's something I can relate to, having certain things be associated with trauma. And I think it's a good way to move the narrative forward as far as that's concerned, and also to take ownership back of the word, basically. But for everything I just said about, taking ownership of the word monster and, being a monster isn't such a bad thing, I'm positive that some people's sleep paralysis demon looks like humanoid Chopper at page 8.
Yeah, absolutely. He has a hat on. You've heard of the Hat Man, right? That's like a Benadryl demon. Or something. I don't know. Maybe
That's
it's sleep
it.
paralysis too.
That's him. That's Hat Man. Like, holy shit, that's terrifying. That's absolutely terrifying. I do know that it ends up backfiring, but I love the shots of Sanji at the bottom of page 10 and the top of page 11 with his high kick. And then the close-up on his face with a lit cigarette in his mouth. He's, I don't know. It's just Sanji has those moments where it's either, I think he's like...
Which page did you say?
Which panel? The top of page 11, like he does the high kick of the balls with the balls. He kicks the balls, which, like I said, ends up backfiring because the balls are sticky. But yeah, so the sequence where he's high kicking and then you see the close up of his face at page 11. Yeah, Sanji's this character where I'm like, on the one hand, when he's in his element and he's doing his thing and he's like, just, I don't know, fighting, he's such a badass. And then as soon as something with titties walks in, all of that goes out the window and he's the biggest fucking insufferable simp I've ever heard about. So...
I wish I could say anything to defend him here, but I have nothing.
It's like, just stick to fighting and cooking, dude.
It's because when he's good, he's so good, and when he's not, he's not. So
it's insufferable.
I love Sanji at times. Yeah, so the interaction then between Nami and Luffy at page 13, to me, was very... It was kind of precious. Like...
It really was. Yeah.
I just love the way they talk to each other in that environment because, I don't know, it feels... It's very genuine. I feel like they have, like, a true friendship that, I don't know, it's almost like siblings, I want to say.
I agree. They have a special, unique friendship because Nami doesn't take shit from a lot of people.
No.
But she absolutely will listen to Luffy if she feels he is being genuine and
right, but
serious.
There's like an understanding of each other and a respect of each other that's innate to their relationship that maybe they don't necessarily share with the other people on the crew.
Yeah, no, I'd agree.
I think they recognize the importance of one another for the livelihood or for the safety of the crew. Like they realize how important each other is. Yeah, so I don't know, the whole what's the ruckus? Oh, just a fight, go back to sleep, and then the whole
As
thing
he's
about
rummaging.
yeah, and then the whole thing about the jacket I think was precious. Yeah. I feel like if Nami had been in better shape, she may have doubted Luffy when he told her that it was nothing, but I think she's exhausted. Poor girl. Yeah, so we have a French lesson coming up. Sanji and Luffy teaming up for the Armée de l'Air air assault was fantastic. Just comments generally on the panel itself. I love the way the panels are laid out with both the wide attack shot and the face close-ups. It's very comical, and again, I'm gonna say it, dynamic movement lines.
Oh!
She
First
said
chapter
it.
Dynamic reference!
Whoa! And yeah, so Armée de l'Air literally translates to air army.
Oh.
Yeah, armée is army and air is air. So the army of the air, basically. So the Air Force.
Air Force attack!
Yeah, that's essentially it. Yeah, so following page 18. Bye, Robson. Hope to see you soon. Hope you find your dad. And yeah, I have to say, Dylan quickly referenced it, but the bottom right panel of page 18 reminded me of Team Rocket. So like early, or like late 90s, early 2000s anime. We're blasting off again. Yeah, exactly. So that reminded me of Team Rocket. And yeah, so the chapter ends on a great panel with a close-up on Wapple's face and him menacingly saying that it's time for the Munch Munch Factory. It's shadowed in, you see that his nose is bleeding, and it's a little bit foreboding, to be honest. Like, as much as I feel like Wapple is fucking ridiculous and I hate him and I just want to grab his little nerd face and stick it in dirt.
You want to do what to it?
I want to stick his dirty little face in
okay.
dirt. I just want to grab him. Anyway, I don't like him very much. But despite all of that, he still looks kind of menacing at the bottom of page 19. Like, he's looking
as
a
menacing
little
as
scary.
he can.
Wait, right? That's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I had for chapter 146.
I also had notes for Luffy's little smile at the top of 4. The two words that came to mind: cheesed and chuffed. It's been in my life a lot, those 2 words, but I love them. I'm happy to use them here. Thanks for the opportunity, Luffy. You're the best.
Absolutely chuffed I am.
Chuffed, isn't it? So I do want to say that Chess and Kuromarimo, we'll call him Mary, they do not feel threatening like many other lackeys have before. Maybe I've made this point before. My memory perhaps is not serving me as well as it could, but I just don't really love them as characters. I don't feel, and this will continue to come up, I don't feel like they're super fleshed out in any way. I mean, they're no Gin, right? They're no, and Wapol is no, he's not. I have some issues that we'll continue to dive into on the villains of this chapter. But yeah. And then there's a little blurb or just a little quick thing about how Chopper insisted that Correa and him move to this castle because, Hiriluk and all that. And she didn't want to, but she was like, fine, we'll go live in the castle, Chopper, whatever. And it just kind of shines a light on their relationship. I think they have a really cute, special, sometimes toxic relationship. But I like it nonetheless. And then the Nami Luffy scene was very cute, very homey. When she goes back to bed after Luffy's like, don't worry about it, and she gives him his jacket.
Yeah.
She looks so cozy as she's going back to sleep.
She does. She does.
She looks so cozy. Luffy as a weapon, I like it. That's fun. That's a cool combo there. Do that more. I do want to make a quick comment. Again, I will continue to repeat this, but I feel like Sanji throughout this volume kind of gets cucked a little bit. I will say it more.
Did you say cuck?
C-U-C-K?
Yeah, like cucked.
Yeah,
okay,
cucked.
yeah.
He gets cucked by the author, I think, a little bit, and I'm going to repeat it multiple times, so I'm just putting a little warning flare out there. And this was the best Sanji moment of the whole chapter, and it sucks that this is the best moment.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Robson gets launched. Like, oh, that poor little guy. He's not surviving that, probably. Yeah, salute to Robson.
Salute to Robson.
and Munch Munch Factory. Not the Munch Munch Factory. Anyway, I enjoyed this chapter. It felt like coming home, kind of. After the last chapter was kind of a departure from what we expect. Luffy's fighting again, but there's some nonsense going on. He gets sidelined because he's getting cold. We got some real oddball moments from the lackeys. Again, I don't like them. And yeah, the action's heating up, but we're not really reinventing the wheel with anything here that we've seen. It was good, not great. And then, yeah, that is 146. 147 will be V.
Yes. So we have a really nice intro image here, over 2 pages with the crew and the giant bird. I like those more detailed shots, and just shout out to Zoro looking like he is completely unfazed by this whole thing. Very relaxed, very nonchalant. Yeah, so we finally get a better look at those fabled 20 doctors. Their reasons for leaving are still somewhat unclear to me, but here's to hoping that they'll follow their Hippocratic oath, is what I said at the time. Page 6. The image, the description of what Wapol had to eat at the top of page 6 made me chuckle. Like, it sounds so mundane, but it's absolutely ridiculous. It's like, and in the village, you had one grilled house. Like, what the heck? As if he was talking about a grilled cheese sandwich. No, he's talking about, oh yeah, you had that one grilled house in the village. Like, what the heck? Okay. That image of Wapol at the top of page 8 is extremely unsettling to me, and I'm not sure why. Like, the thought of this giant house-shaped man baby with a gargantuan appetite truly...
Man baby.
He is!
It's that Baba Yaga.
Yeah, fair.
He truly bothers me on some primal level. Like, it's so strange. Like, just looking at the shot and seeing the men's legs hanging out of his clenched teeth while he's munching away, it makes me feel deeply uncomfortable. It's both absurd and, like, the word that comes to mind is grotesque. Like, I don't know. It just really, really bothers me. I will say we have, the bottom of page 10. I'm with Sanji on this one. Chess Marimo is stupid. Or at least it looks stupid. I'll heed Koryaha's warning, but it certainly does look stupid. Also, I had to say, ironic of Usopp to tell Vivi that she worries too much at the top of page 12.
Brother.
Like, calm down, Vivi, you worry too much. Have you met you? Have you met yourself? Have you looked at a mirror recently, Usopp?
He's the second least aware character behind, like,
Luffy. That's exactly it. It just manifests itself in a different way, but that's exactly it. I did like the panel at the bottom of page 13 with the close-up of Dalton's face as he's raging against Wapol and his tyranny. Like, he looks... You know how, like, I feel like Dalton's face is very flat most of the time? And now he's, like, actually expressive, and I like seeing that.
Very William Wallace. What will you do without freedom?
The very next page, page 14... we have a fantastic shot with Usopp kneeling, facing away from Dalton and inviting him on his back to carry him. As I noted, as I was reading this, I'm not sure that it's possible. Dalton looks huge as compared to Usopp, but we'll see if it works. Spoiler alert, it does not. And then, okay, I'm gonna give my boy some validation, okay? Chopper has every reason to go apeshit. Maybe Chopper is gonna get away with a lot from me because I love him. But, I'm like, yes, I understand why he goes apeshit, and it's further validated by Luffy, who really drives the point in this really great panel at page 19. Not only did Wapol insult the memory of Hiriluk that, you know, the flag carries with it, but he went against the meaning of the flag. It's not just disrespecting the flag, it's disrespecting what it means and what it stands for. And it's very powerful to have Luffy recognize that, because again, we talk about Luffy as this character that's so oblivious to anything, basically anything surrounding him at all times. But once in a while, when he tunes in, it's so meaningful. And that's one of those moments for me. Like, the neurons are connecting. It's like, whoa, he's doing it, guys.
It's like that classic image of, like, a dusty-ass cobweb gear just, like, starting to, like, slowly rotate.
That's exactly it. That's Luffy's brain. Okay, this SBS. And it happens throughout this volume. I have nothing to say about the content of it, but I had to point out, I know that the weapons at the top are meant to spell SBS, but I totally read it as SEX, personally.
I didn't even notice that, but yeah, it definitely looks
right?
sex.
Right? Anyway, that's
Like
all I had.
X's might not have been a great choice.
That's all I had on this SBS and on this chapter.
Yeah. And back to the intro image. Based on the way I looked at it and the perspective I was taking from it, it kind of looks like they're all focused on the hat. I don't think there's any, like, acknowledgement of the giant bird creature in the back.
Oh, that they're all, like, the hat
like,
fell
oh, shit,
off
it's
of
Luffy's
Luffy's
hat, get his hat.
and they're
Yeah.
panicking about it. Yeah, I think
It
you're
looks
right.
like Nami's, like, excited to grab it. She's like, oh, no, I want to
She's
keep
like, fuck yeah, hats! No, I'm getting married next.
Right? It's like the bouquet. I'm the captain now. She stares at, like the movie with Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks. I'm the captain.
Tom
now.
Hanks.
No, that would definitely be a nose guy thing. Usopp, there it is.
Nose guy. What's his name again?
gets the hat. I'm the captain.
I am captain now. Now I am the Straw Hat. And then, oh my god, what a shocker. Dalton's not dead.
Well,
whoa, who would have ever seen that?
I never even doubted it once. I know they tried, maybe.
I was like,
no,
Dalton's dead.
Yeah, let me give him this, that there were 20 doctors within, 100 yards of him. So I'll at least let that one slide on that context alone.
I guess.
It's not the most egregious. You can admit that, right?
Yeah, I guess. Like, the whole concept of, like, oh, he eats all this shit because it makes him more powerful. Wapol, that is. It's kind of a cool concept where it's like, oh, okay, like, if he ends up eating enough shit, and he could be, like, just a walking battleship.
He should have just ate his shit.
Honestly, yeah.
So, I just had a moment of inspiration. You know what I'm actually thinking of? Kirby. He is just a mean Kirby.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
The Wapol House, kind of cool, kind of disturbing at the same time. The fact that he just turns on his guys and eats them. And the fact that they're obvious, that's not something like they've ever like done or agreed upon before. And it kind of cuts back to like that scene where he ate them out of the snow. It's like, no, he definitely ate some people.
Getting eaten never gets any better, I don't think. I don't think you get used to it.
And like you were saying, B, it was like just like the kind of like the 2 panels it takes for him to eat them and how that's like weird. That again is very Attack on Titan to me. Because it's like there's several deaths in that series where it's like, no, they eat them feet first. And they're kind of alive until the head goes pop. Yeah.
Like when you think about it, it's super disturbing.
I've not seen Attack on Titan, but it sounds like one of the more, maybe not most.
It's pretty gory and grimdark. Cannot deny. Cool the concepts of it are fucking cool as shit, though. And then I also like the reaction of the I am the mightiest warrior in Drum Kingdom. Chess Marimo. And it's like, they're just sitting on each other's shoulder. What the fuck? That's 2 kids in a trench coat trying to get in an R-rated movie. And of course, Luffy's like, whoa. And it's like, dude, no, not cool. This one's just stupid. Almost Sanji on this one.
Yeah.
The mech was kind of cool. This is just dumb. And the doctor has a good point. It's like, don't underestimate them. If they were weak, the people would have risen up and taken over a long time ago. It's like, yeah, it's okay. And I kind of like Usopp, even though, Usopp's the most cowardly of the whole crew, but the fact that he's like, oh god, we gotta check on where this coming,
Don't
worry. It's gonna be so bad. And then Usopp's like, dude, no, it's like Sanji and Luffy.
He at least has faith in that.
They're fine. Yeah, it's like, if I'm involved, no, be worried, because I'm scared. But if it's them, they got it. They're good. And like, there's other lines, I don't know if he was one to give the lines, but the line was like, oh, you don't need to worry about them. They single-handedly saved the East Blue.
I think that was last volume.
Yeah. It's just like, okay, the crew is willing to put faith in each other. I like that.
I like that too.
And of course, Zolo is immediately like, you're just afraid to go up the mountain, aren't you? He's like, no. And then he's got the jelly legs going. And yeah, definitely some Braveheart vibes from Dalton. Of course, I did like the point where Usopp's like, get on my back. I'll get you there. It's like weird how like seeing Usopp when he finds inspiration. It's kind of interesting to see. And I did like kind of going like, Tony Chopper when he kind of like after the flag's blown up, just kind of like blanking out and just going Hulk mode on him. I thought it was really cool. I was like, oh, okay, cool. He's getting ready to like beat the shit out of him. And he's got his fist cocked back. He's like, I'm not going to hurt you. Just leave. And the doctor's like, what? Are you a fucking idiot? No, he's obviously not going to. Why? Are you even trying at this point? And then he gets shot in the face because of that. Dumbass reindeer. Crying and shit.
Dylan.
I'm crying here.
He's going to cry later.
Yeah.
He's not crying yet. Let him be. He's perfect.
I kind of like the panel of Luffy calling them a bunch of frauds and stuff was really well done. I like that a lot. And that's another moment where Tony's like, wait, he gets it. Whoa.
I should totally join his crew.
Yeah, there's a chance.
That's what you're saying. There's a chance.
Oh. But yeah, that's all I got.
All right. So, the doctors really, I feel like during the whole situation where they were under Wapol's thumb, they must not have tried very hard to help people, but, they're in the right place at the right time. They're sticking to their Hippocratic oath. I'll give it to them, but they're not above criticism here. They're not great people. They're not great characters.
Yeah, it's like, remember all the time where, like, Wapol told you to withhold medical care and you did? Yeah.
Where was the
that's a
oath?
problem.
Where was the oath then?
Yeah.
That's very
Hey, he's not
true.
here to see us not doing what he told us to do, so
Yeah.
let's go ahead and do it.
And maybe that's a little bit of like a nod to how we might feel about, like pharmaceutical companies or whatever, about like, you're good when it suits you and when it benefits you, but then you're also easily corrupted if it comes down to it. So
Opioids are not addictive. No, they'll never get addicted.
Trust
to those.
me, you keep
Just give 'em
prescribing
as much
this.
take them a handful at a time. You'll be fine.
We'll give you a kickback every time you prescribe this. It's good.
Yeah. Also, meatball subs for lunch. I'm buying.
It's scary because that's actually what they like. The big pharma techs, like, they're usually attractive people in their early 20s.
Yep.
They know nothing about medicine, but they just go in and schmooze hospital directors.
They
Look, why don't
schmooze
you
your
come play
local
golf with
doctor
me?
too.
Yeah.
I actually, through association, know someone in that line of business, and yeah, they're exactly as you describe, though. So, let's talk about Kurmarimo, Chess Marimo. It's parts of it.
Found a way to make two boring characters into one really boring character.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting idea. It's equal parts cool. Equal parts is not the right word. It's more stupid than cool, but there's something about it I like just from a silly perspective. It's fun. It's
like different matchups could be super interesting. These guys suck.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they sucked as individuals. They're not better as a combined whole.
So they're combined, and then Chopper goes at them and handles them, as we will soon see. And Sanji doesn't get one of them. There's two enemies. There's a spare, for storytelling purposes, Sanji could show out. But as we'll see, I'll just leave it there. And yes,
I get where you're coming from with that. When it's just like kind of out of nowhere, it's like, oh no, you actually did this.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, why was that mentioned before?
Why? Luffy, obviously a sucker for mech-esque transformations. I don't know if we could call this a mech transformation.
Actually, come forward, he just likes transformations.
Yeah. Oh, he does.
Yeah, getting it later on. Yeah, he's very much into that, which I have thoughts on that as well.
I liked when Wapol attacks the flag. I like the art there. You see it from Chopper's perspective down on the ground looking up, and then you see Chopper's reaction. I think that was cool. That was well done. And then the panel with Usopp down ready to take on Dalton. I do feel, at least in his heart of hearts, he genuinely wanted to help. But as we will soon see, it is not in the cards for him.
I think he did.
I like
just
the
being
panel.
unrealistic.
I mean,
yeah, it is a good panel. It's a good shot.
Yeah, Usopp doesn't get a ton of those. He's had a handful, but this is a good Usopp spot. And then
He did beat a guy to death with a hammer.
Right, his battle with Kissy Boy.
Chew.
Chew.
Thank you. And then I thought the ending of this was actually really good. From page 15 to 19, Luffy realizing what the flag means, Chopper going beast mode, Korea shouting that it's nonsense. Like, Chopper's remembering Hiriluk saying, but don't blame all humans. This country is sick right now. Yeah, right, don't blame all humans, but blame this one. This one's okay.
This is the sickness. Yeah, this is the problem.
This is the sickness.
This is the tumor we're trying to cut out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Luffy holding the flag was cool. I do want to point out that I at first I didn't notice it until I got to the point where Nami's like, what the fuck did you do to my fucking jacket? But on the bottom of page 18, you will see the arm of her jacket wrapped around that flagpole. And I can only think Nami would put more value in a jacket that she spent money on than that stupid flagpole.
Yeah.
She's not one for frivolous things like that, at least. There's something, she's sentimental to an extent, but that, she would be like, no fucking way. That being said, yeah, this chapter was a continuation of the battle. It starts quite goofy. There's some goofy, fun moments throughout, but I think the ending shines. I think it wraps up nicely. An awesome way to end the chapter. It gets me excited for the next chapter to see how things are going to go. But yeah, that's what I had for 147. 148 is done.
Okie doke. Then again, we get another shot of Funky Town. And I think this one you can kind of more see the full bodiness of it. There's later on at a point where like a brawl breaks out and he's like wearing like a glove. Like when you get to that, you'll be like, okay, I know, it's definitely him. And then, of course, we open up, back to Usopp, don't worry, I got you up the castle, and, immediately as the weight's put on him, he starts crumbling. It's just like, oh, God. He's like, I got you, brother. And then freaking, Crusoe steps in and just throws him over his shoulder like a bag of dog food. I was just like, all right, let's go. And this kind of I kind of look down on Usopp a little bit for his reaction here. Because his reactions are like, oh, we're going to go help Down. And he's like, you stole my glory. I was going to be so fucking cool. Why the fuck you, dude? I was going to do that.
That's not very straw hat of you, Usopp.
You're a punk bitch. I don't like that. It's like, don't be a good Samaritan because it makes you look cool. Right. Be a good Samaritan for the sake of being a good person.
Again, I do believe he believed in his mission, but clearly there was a part about it that was proving something, maybe to himself, possibly, which is important, but also...
Yeah, but not at the detriment of
exactly
something bigger, right?
And of course, he storms off and is like, I was about to get serious. And so I was like, yeah, I know, buddy.
Pat. They're there.
We get back to the top of the mountain. And Wapo's basically like, it's a pirate flag. Pirate flags have no meaning. It's stupid. You're putting worth to something that has no value. And Luffy's like, nah, you don't just fly this shit for shits and giggles. Because, I mean, if you were doing that back in the day, that's a good way for a Navy vessel to pull up and be like, hey, goodbye. Or if we board you, we're going to take your whole crew and hang all of you.
Honestly.
So, of course, Wapol stamps his little feeties, and it's like, my kingdom, and I'll shoot that silly rag down until it stays down. And Chopper calls out to get out of the way, and then Luffy just stands there and says, you can't break it, the skull and crossbones is a symbol of faith, and just tanks a shot. And Wapol, of course, is like, I blew him to pieces. And, of course, no, you didn't. And honestly, probably favorite shots of the chapter right here.
Yeah.
Page 8, just the zoom in of smoke pouring off of Luffy, and then just him standing there holding the flag up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an all-star
unbreakable
moment.
Yeah, that was great.
That's got to be a card in the trading card game.
Drum Kingdom is in the next set.
Okay.
I'd have to look.
Because that's got, if they don't use that as some kind of card art,
it's a great page altogether.
Yeah.
I mean, it is I'll get to it, one of the most memorable moments from this entire arc that I can remember.
But Luffy's getting amped up because he explains like this is promise of life. You don't fight lightly. It's not something to be laughed or shot at. And he's got them shook.
Yeah, he does.
And then this is more Tony Trapper coming over to the idea of it because he's looking at it. He's like, so this is what a pirate truly is.
This is what Hiriluk was talking about.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's exactly it.
And I just like the point where like Luffy's like, all right, we're going to get in a fight and then we're going to be best friends. It's like, I'm going to clobber these guys now. What are you going to do? And this is kind of the part you were talking about earlier when Sanji's like, that does it. I'm getting involved. And then out of nowhere, Dr. Correa's just like, the one with the broken back. When was that established they had a broken back? Just now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's a weird way
I like your spirit, but it's too soon. Dr. Stomp. Oh, no, Dr. Stop. Okay, never mind. I thought it said Dr. Stomp.
That'd be a good one. She has her own name moves.
Yeah. And of course does it on the small of his back. It's like,
yeah.
If he's got a broken back, why are you stomping on his spine? And also, why now before when he launched Luffy did you not stop him there? That's a really hard twisting motion. The spine tends not to like that.
You gotta lift with your back, you know?
Yeah. No, it's a sharp, tugging, spinning motion. Of course, that did feel really cop-outy. It's like you said, this could have been a cool moment to have, yeah.
It doesn't even feel like it means it.
I guess,
right.
I guess the only thing I get to see is maybe Oda was just like, no, I actually need to give Tony Chopper a chance to shine. Like, I can't have Sanji come in and show him up. Like, this needs to be Tony Chopper's moment.
It's
Luffy's
fair.
Show, but this is Tony's moment.
I don't like it, but I get that reasoning.
Yeah, I think that's the only reason, because otherwise, why not? Like, Sanji, I think at this point in the production is pretty liked.
Yeah. There was I think we had a reader poll. I think we saw one with the popular characters, and he was near the top.
Yeah. At this point, Tony's like, I'm going to fight. It's intercepted by the dumb guys. And of course, Luffy sees this, and he's like, fuck yeah, get him. I'm going to get the other guy. Just Marimo pretty much points out, it's like, these people did nothing but shun you and try and kill you. Why try to help them? What's the point of helping this kingdom that never wanted you? It's like, damn, all right.
Ouch.
That's one way to do it.
Like, I get it. And of course, Luffy's getting wound up and screaming at the top of his lungs, "You have a friend right here. I'm your friend.
You got a friend in me."
Aww.
That would be hilarious if they fucking did that in the fucking anime. Yeah. Just slow-mo him flying in. And then he comes in, basically does a superhero landing. He's giggling because he knows he's getting ready to fight some more. And of course, Tony Chopper is just amazed. It's like, "Oh, Straw Hat, are you all right?" And he's like, "I'm fine. I'm made of rubber." He's like, "Rubber?" It's like, this has been explained to you like 5 times.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, why are you shy?
You've
Like,
seen
you are
it.
really
Rubber?
fucking stupid.
Literally
Like,
seen
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
you're reinforcing my current vehement hatred of you. And I just love how the fact that he's like, "Hey, can you finish off Chessmarimo?" And it's like, "That guy? Easy." It's like, "Okay, alright, okay." And Tony Chopper's like, "I'm not playing anymore." And of course, Sanji's sitting there being like, "I want to fight, I want to fight." And it's like, "No, just stop.
Stay
You're
there,
hurt,
yeah.
you're gonna get
Sit
hurt
this
worse."
one out.
Yeah.
And it's like the reindeers, when in time's right, he'll pop off. And then we get introduced to the Rumble Ball. That's how we end the chapter. That's pretty much all I got on that one.
I just want to say before I get into my more detailed notes about this chapter, just to what you were saying, Dylan, I feel like Chopper is like, he needs that room to grow. Kind of like if plants are like planted too close together, like they're gonna choke each other up, and they need to be like, they need to stand alone to kind of bloom and become what they need to become. And I think that's kind of what was the purpose of this. I understand that it might not make like logical sense, but for storytelling purposes, I totally get where they were coming from.
Yeah, I get it. I just don't like it.
I understand not liking it. I get that. Because it doesn't make like logical sense. But again, like I was saying, as far as storytelling, it's meaningful, right? So
Yeah. You need to have a reason to be invested in Tony Chopper.
I don't know. I feel like I've been invested since the beginning, but I have a bias, I guess. So, I mean, as Dylan pointed out, I didn't care for Usopp's reaction to kind of being, I don't want to say outshined, but it kind of put a damper on what I thought was good intent, like intent and motivation to help. But, you know, everyone realized that, as I had speculated just the previous chapter, that it was impossible for Usopp to do it. But yeah, like Dylan pointed it out, and I was like, you know what? He did react really poorly to that. So, not possible for Usopp to do it, but however, it is not impossible for Zoro to do it.
If I may interject here, I don't know if it's been explicitly put out there, at least not recently, but Zoro is Luffy's first mate.
Yeah.
You know, he is.
Second.
If Luffy goes out, yeah, he's second in command.
Second in command, yeah.
Like, Usopp's, I just feel like his reaction, You're wrong here, brother.
Yeah. But in a way, I feel like Zoro understands Usopp, because, I don't know, at the top of page 4, Usopp says, "I was about to get serious," and Zoro replies, "Yeah, I know."
I know, buddy.
And I feel like I don't think Zoro was sarcastic. I think he knew that Usopp really actually wanted to help and feels a little sorry for him that he's the one that had to step in, but like that he still recognizes that there was a good intent there. But again, I don't condone his reaction. It's a little selfish and self-centered, and like I said, it's not very Straw Hat of him.
Yeah,
to have
a good
that
deed
reaction.
for self-satisfaction is not
And
a good deed.
exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah, the next few pages, Luffy has some really badass moments over pages 6, 7, and 8. He stands up to Wapol. He schools him on the meaning of the skull and crossbones. He takes a shot to the face, and yet he does not waver. And we get a wonderful payoff at page 8 with the, I don't know, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, his shape is kind of shadowed in, his gaze
Oda went off on this.
Oh yeah, he absolutely did. The darkened gaze, the arm blown off of Nami's coat, and the staff of the flag being destroyed, yet he's still holding on to it. Like, I don't know,
Yes.
It's great. It's a great page. I really liked it.
I would love to have seen it as a 2-pager.
Yes, imagine that. But yeah, like Dylan pointed out, this is worthy to be on, like, a card or something. It's a fantastic shot. And then at the top of page 10, we get quite the expressiveness in Luffy's face. Yeah, top of page 10 and mid page 11. Like, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Rage mode Luffy is my favorite Luffy. Like, when he goes crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I love super aggro Luffy. Cannot help it. Okay, and so maybe this might just be me. It took me until about the bottom of page 14 to figure out that the font for Chess Marimo is like that because it's meant to be doubled.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Love that.
Like the two of them are talking at the same time.
It was a cool artistic flourish with, like, language.
Yeah, and it took me a minute to be like, oh, that's why it's like this. Admittedly, in some areas it made it a little bit hard to read, but I was like, oh, that's what they did. Because it's two. Because they combined. Because it's two people. Yeah. It took me a minute, but I got there. Okay. Page 16. Page 16 gave me some emotions. I know it's cheesy, but Luffy telling Chopper that he had a friend and that he was his friend, that made me really happy. That was a little bit of like the... You know how we jokingly say that the One Piece is the friends that we made along the way? Well, that's
how this fucking series ends. I'm gonna be so goddamn angry.
Page 16 is kind of the personification of that. You have a friend right here. I'm your friend. Like, okay, that's sweet. But yeah, we just talked about this with, what's the point of Sanji being debilitated? Does it really make sense? Not really, but as I said, I feel like it's an opportunity for Chopper to grow, and I love that Kureha is confident in Chopper at the bottom of page 18 when she says, he'll be fine. When the time comes, my reindeer will act. Like, I like that people are putting their faith in him because I feel like he's proven himself worthy. I feel like he has demonstrated that he is able to stand up on his own and defend what he cares about. And I think he deserves his time in the proverbial spotlight. Yeah, also, we get introduced to the Rumble Ball, and that's where the chapter ends. I was curious about that at the time. I did just want to point out in the SBS, just wanted to give a little shout out to the last entry of the SBS about the ancient Egyptian origin of Alabasta and Vivi's family name. Just thought that was nice and informative. That's what I have for 148.
So, yeah, I like the whole Usopp Zoro bit from a storytelling perspective. Again, I'm sitting here like, what the fuck, Usopp? But I still felt like it oozed personality. I felt like, that is Usopp to an extent. He does have something to prove to others, but also himself. And then Zoro does kind of understand, but Zoro's more proactive when it comes to what actually needs to be done. He's more realistic. He's also more self-confident. I think that is clear. But yeah, Zoro saying, yeah, I know, buddy. He didn't say buddy, but Dylan said it, and that's the way I read it.
What's the energy it was, for sure. It's okay, buddy. You tried.
The page 8. Yeah, I have vivid memories of this series from the manga, but my first experience up to this point was the anime. And I have vivid memories of this scene. It left a mark. I saw it coming. I've read this all the way through and watched the anime up to this point, so maybe that's like, of course you did. You've seen it twice. But, I mean, this part really burned into my being. Love this. One of the best full pages that we've had thus far. And I love that Luffy issues like a challenge to Chopper. He knows that Chopper kind of needs a little motivation. He knows, he kind of understands where Chopper's flaws, his personality flaws are. He says, I'm going to clobber these guys. Now, what are you going to do? Like, stand up, Chopper. Be the man that you want to be. Be the reindeer that you are. And put yourself out there. And then, yes, to touch on Sanji. Yes, apparently Sanji's back is broken, and then Korea steps on it. But let Sanji cook. It has been volumes now.
Feels like almost since the like
It has been. He got a little bit in during Arlong part.
Arlong. Yeah, I was gonna say it feels like it has been since
He was
Arlong since we've
asleep
seen him.
during Cocoa Village. Am I remembering the name correctly? He was sidelined, lost in the woods, whatever, during the jungle, whatever. And now his back is broken. He's had some good moments thus far, but this could have been great for him. He needs.
You were
something.
thinking of Little Garden.
Little Garden, thank you. I also liked the font for the Chess Marimo combo. I thought that was a really interesting artistic font there. You don't see a lot of different fonts used, but that was cool. That was really, really nice. And then, of course, Chopper whips out his balls to end the chapter.
Nice.
That's my own little joke. But, yeah, with a few exceptions, this chapter didn't wow me. The confrontation feels like maybe it was kind of dragging at this point. Not that a long confrontation can't be good. Again, some great moments that I don't want to take anything away from. I thought this had some really good moments. Again, the highlight being page 7 or 8. But yeah, I liked it. Could have been better. And then 149 is V.
So I didn't have a whole lot of notes for this chapter. It's probably my
Same.
least noted chapter of this volume. I did mention it last chapter, but I feel like in the next few panels, or the next like beginning panels of chapter 148, 149, I feel like I'm particularly noticing how hard it is to read Chess Marimo's font. The doubling, it makes it a little difficult to read. And my main thoughts here were, hopefully Chopper will beat their ass and we won't have to decipher it for much longer. I get foreshadowing, I guess. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot over the next 2 pages, but overall we're getting further explanation about Chopper's forms. We find out that he's discovered 4 more forms of transformation on top of what was originally predicted or planned. I still don't know how I feel about the human fruit in general. In my head, still the headcanon is a ball sack. But yeah, in general it kind of irks me. Like it's a little weird. It's giving cannibalism. Like I don't know. But I guess it's cool that he managed to maximize those powers.
He's not a cannibal.
Also,
He's a
question:
reindeer.
That's
true.
what happens when a human eats a human fruit?
Yeah, that's
Right?
a great question.
Oh. Oh my gosh.
I turn
Can
into
you
a
imagine?
different person.
Yeah. Right?
Turn into a Wendigo. It's like, no, you're a
fuck.
cannibal.
Yeah. So I guess Chopper is both brain and brawn, depending on what he boosts. That's an interesting concept. It feels a little bit OP, but he's just a little guy.
Just a
Right?
little guy.
He's just a little guy. Kind of skipping ahead again throughout all this, it's just the different forms of Chopper. We have a few interesting visual shots, but, him using the scope was interesting. The Cloven Rose shot of him punching through was really good. Yeah, I really enjoyed how dynamic the strike to Chess Marimo's chin is with I thought the perspective was interesting on the hit, and then the bottom panel is just the backlighted shadow of them from the side. And again, that kind of gives it a feeling of being suspended in time before he falls to the ground. Like, again, talking about the pacing through the pages, I feel like that came through here. And basically, that is what Chopper can do in 3 minutes. That's the chapter. That's the whole thing. We were wondering, we were posed the question, that is what he can do in 3 minutes. And that's all I had for 149.
Yeah, and then this is kind of where this cover image, that's definitely full body.
Yeah.
He's got the knuckles on. And it's like, yep,
I like that
that's
he's
full
vibing with the
body.
homeboy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like, as we saw before, full body's kind of like a fancy pants. He's concerned about wine and stuff.
Well, he wants to look like he knows what he's talking about when he never really does.
I could see Django kind of being along those same lines in the right setting.
It's like, I just want to be perceived as smart and cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can see that for Django. And also, like, with the like, it's like, okay, now you're getting to see the Rumble Ball. Okay, that's cool. Now I'm going to explain to you exactly what it does and how long it lasts. It's like, what?
What?
You said 3 minutes. At that point, it's like, all right, I'm going to go dick around and hide for 3 minutes, and I'm going to come out and fucking shoot your ass. Exactly. Like, Walpole's like 3 minutes ridiculous. Yeah, you're right. You just shouldn't have said anything. And then, Chess Merimo's still really stupid, but the dual-wielding bows with flame hair arrows is stupidly funny. It's like, God, that's so dumb. But it's
wielding bows is ridiculous, but he might have 4 arms.
Yeah.
He does. Ridiculous. It's Marimo's pulling the bowstrings. And then the name for the move is Marimo's snow melting arrow. Well, it's fire. Yeah,
just fire.
Could have just said fire arrow. But I will admit, the whole idea with like the form changing stuff, that's a cool concept. I like that. It's very Dragon Ball to me, where it's like there's levels of Super Saiyan. You can do Kaioken, which sends you into an altered state for a little bit.
Well, I would feel like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z is more of like a vertical.
It's like a straight path. It's like this one's kind of,
if that makes sense.
Well, it's directional.
Yeah.
Where it's like in Dragon Ball Z, it's always you're getting better. It's like, no, I'm choosing to be better at this, but not as good at that.
Yeah.
Whereas everything in Dragon Ball Z is more just straight up payoff.
To the moon.
And then just some of the move names, like Marimo's Super Surprise Quattro Hammer. It's like, okay, yeah, you got 4 arms, we get it. But this scene of like the sudden shifts throughout this whole fight to do different things to handle every situation he gets in is cool. I like that. Like Tony Chopper as a character himself, still gonna dog shit on, but his fighting style is interesting at the very least. And this has a theory to me, because it's like when Chess Marimo was like 7 stages of transformation, what the fuck? And then Luffy's kind of like, what? Oh shit! Because I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking it's like, is transformations just something inherent of the devil fruit in general? Is it specifically to like human to beast transformations, or is it all of them can do? And I think that's the realization that Luffy's having. He's like, wait, he ate a devil fruit, I ate a devil fruit, he can transform. Mm-hmm. Can I transform?
Interesting.
And my prediction is like that's going to lead him to go into some form of like a training art to learn new forms. That's my thought process.
I mean, that would make sense.
Because it's the way it's drawn at the bottom panel of 9. Because there's like 7 transformations. And there's like, oh, that's before you had that's a first part of it on the right is you had my curiosity. The one on the left is now you have my attention.
Yeah.
And of course, the top page. Oh, 7 stages. What a cool reindeer. That's a goofy shot. I like that. Also, that should be a card for the One Piece. Well, I'd make it like an effect thing. It's like, oh, you dazzle a target for 1 round.
Dazzle them.
That's it. Yeah. And then the fight goes on. I mean, it's kind of more just him just transforming and everything. And I feel like the whole, like, I need to find their weak spot. The whole thing is like such an anime trope, like through and fucking through. Yeah. Where it's like, it's even got like the target reticle on the thing. It's just like, oh god. But then it's like, oh, the chins are the weakest point. And just the way he does it. Because he finds out it's a chin, he does this jump for and jumps to him. And then, what? Because you see his arm boot, it makes it look like he like shrunk in his like punch form. Because the angle you get when it's, when he's charging up on 17 at the bottom, when it says Cloven, it makes him look super fucking tiny.
I think it's more perspective there, because he's clearly not in his tiny form.
Yeah, that's just the thing that threw me out. It's like, what? That looks weird. But the Cloven Rose move, that's a cool move. I like the shot of that, of it going off. And then just kind of like the old school, like samurai flick, kind of like, oh, an attack happened a split second that you couldn't see, and then the after effect happens in black and white with a white background.
Yeah.
I like that. It's cool. And then the little self-satisfied hat adjustment when he says 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I told you.
And of course, Luffy's like, yeah, he did it. The reindeer did it. And then he looks. And then now he's just like, oh, wait, I'm supposed to be fighting a guy. Where'd he go?
He's dazzled so easily for 1 turn.
Yeah. If it's something that he considers cool, he's just all attention is lost. Definitely got some ADHD.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, like I said, like, this seemed more of like a fight-based chapter, but I kind of enjoyed seeing Tony fight. Like, the idea of this rapid-fire switching forms to take advantage of every scenario in the fight is a cool idea. But that's all I got.
All right, I will be quick here. We got a Sanji calling someone a crap something again, which we haven't heard him use that terminology in a while.
That's
at least
true.
It feels like.
Crap
what did he
geezer?
say? You crap. Yeah, you crap doctor.
I
Guard
was if you
boost.
said crap geezer, it's like, dang, that's a throwback.
Yeah,
to
it's crap
Red Shoes
doctor.
F.
Though she is she's more of a geezer than Zeph was, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Guard boost. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but he's so fluffy. You can get a good shot of it on page 8, the middle of page
Oh, he's just
8.
bouncing around after a hit.
Yeah, that's his defense form, I guess. He's just like gets real fluffy. Luffy loves it. That's funny,
Very cute.
but yeah, it's something we've seen. And all in all, this chapter was action plus Rumble Ball. Okay. So my final thoughts were action, fine action, nothing exciting, like outstandingly exciting here. At the very least, I didn't dislike anything. I feel like this chapter was kind of a lower spot for the volume, but yeah, that's all I had. And then 150 will be Dylan.
Okay. And this cover image, this is kind of like Django calling what the fuck, dude, you're a Marine? And that like that's just like, it's very, very much. It was 100% full body. And then we come back and then Luffy's like, oh yeah, Walpole's just gone. What the fuck? And I love how Luffy's like, when did he leave? And Sanji's just screaming out while you're going gaga over Chopper's transformations.
Let Sanji
And of course, Sanji goes crawling off to save his queen. And again, another great interior shot of the castle. Still very much the spinner vibes from Twilight Princess.
Yep.
I will admit the frozen temple for that one was kind of cool. And of course, Walpole and Guy, he kill him. You know, like at this point, Nami's like trying to bust out of there because she's just tired of sitting around.
She looked so comfy last we saw her.
And he's like, oh, you're one of the Straw Hats, aren't you? She's like, what? No, I'm just an innocent young girl.
And just a little girl.
I'm a navigator, just passing through. Goodbye. And Walpole's like, bye. Mm-hmm. And then lying, bitch. So chasing after her. That was funny. I like that. That was a little funny a little bit. And he tries to go down the stairs, can't fit to the threshold, and it's like, I guess I'll put on some weight. It's time for the Munch Munch factory. And he eats himself.
Oh, yeah, I have
That
thoughts.
That was
that.
odd and a little unsettling.
I wish I could
A little?
do that.
Michael, first of all, no.
I'd eat myself every day.
Oh,
When
God.
it comes out, it's the Walpole Slim Down.
I like it.
It's like, you can't escape, man. Calling it, saying, what a weirdo, accurate. Very accurate. But then it seems like, no. I would say the bottom panel on page 9 makes you think, it's like, oh shit, Nami might be in some real trouble. But the fact that top left panel is freaking Luffy charging up a kick. So it's like, no. She'll be fine. And as we see, half page spread, top of 10, freaking foot in the face, Luffy, there you are. That's a good panel. I like that panel a lot. And of course, after being saved, Nami's only thing is like, what did you do to my jacket? And of course, like, you know how much it cost? And she's like, actually, you know what? I forgive you because I knew you were going to ruin it anyways. But I want to put you in debt 3 times its cost.
You can just pay me back.
That makes it 100,000 berries. It's like, what the fuck? And of course, Luffy's like, what? I bet you planned that all along. It's like, you know what, Luffy? Yeah, she probably did. Knowing Nami. And I like the idea when it's like they're talking about the weapons room. Waffle's like, I'm going to get in there, I'm going to eat them all, and then I would be crazy powerful. I think I would have liked seeing that. That would have been cool to see. Because like the little image of his imagination looked really cool.
I agree with you, Dylan. I think that would have been cool.
And of course, I was like, yeah, now I'm going to open the door with my key that only I have. Where's my key? If I feel like that every time I'm going out to the car, I'm just like, oh shit. Okay, there it is. And just the top of it, 13, the deadpan stare of Luffy staring at Waffle, and then he just runs away. He's like, I'm not finished yet, I'll be back. And of course, Nami pulls out a key. He's like, oh, so that's what that's for. Sticky fingers. And then Waffle unveils the Royal Drum Crown 7-shot 10-tyrant cannon.
What a mouthful.
Yep.
Yeah, let's just say 7-shot cannon. That works. Interesting weapon. The look of it, I like the aesthetic of it. We're supposed to be one of these woolly hippos. And of course, in true One Piece style, as he pulls a shot off, it just psst, nothing happens. And of course, it's more snowbirds have nested inside of it, making it useless. But I do love fucking 17 of 20, just the fucking intense I'm fucked stare.
Yeah, I love that.
That was great. I really like that a lot. And of course, the Waffle switches to How dare you mock me? I am the king. I am your king. And then he just gets his mouth shut. It's clamped on by Luffy. And then that bottom panel of 19, where he's got his hands around his face, his eyes are bugging. That's a really good pirate.
Really good panel.
Yeah. Really good pirate, really good panel.
Yeah.
There are things that matter more than power because I'm a pirate. And of course, Tony's getting ready to cry. Doctor, he said I was his friend.
With his hat pulled down over his eyes.
Yeah, so you can't see him crying, but you know it's going to happen.
Stop it.
That's all I got.
Let him be.
If it not Chopper, then he's going to turn his aggression towards us. So we need him to have an outlet.
I don't know. Maybe I would sacrifice myself for Chopper's well-being and dignity. Who knows? Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying, Dylan, because you're not wrong. So far in this, he's a crybaby, but he's really cute, and he has a good reason to be emosh. Is he? Does he not?
I think
sure.
Great reason.
Okay. Soon, Dylan is gonna fold at some point. So help me God.
We'll see.
Well, we will see. We will see. Maybe, if not in this volume, maybe in a few. We will see. I've said it in previous episodes. I think actually, I want to say the last episode or the one before. I'm not always a fan of Sanji's simp ways. I've expressed this actually earlier in this episode, but they do come in handy once in a while. And in this case, he immediately identifies the fact that Wapol may be a threat to Nami. Like, it's like he's honed in. He's so tuned into her. And he's like, bzz. It's like he knows. And sure enough, we next see him at the bottom of the staircase, furious.
Bro is crawling
for
his girl.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. As Nami emerges from her room, at the time. And I guess still a little bit. I was and still am a little bit worried since she may not be at full health yet, but here's to hoping. And like this we kind of expand on that throughout this volume. Eventually they make it out, as we will find out. But I do wonder if there wasn't some merit to what Kureha was saying about how long Nami would have needed to rest. And I'm hoping that we won't see any negative side effects with them not maybe staying the whole time that she would have needed to recover. But, yes, that is fairly minor. I can't with Wapol. Like, he makes me physically cringe and shudder. As Dylan was pointing out, the panels of him eating himself, page 7, it's so gross and unsettling to me. Like, I can't look away, but I also cannot stand it. Like, it makes me deeply, deeply uncomfortable.
I do not remember this being this much, like, gross out stuff in One Piece, but it's consistent.
You just see him, like, I'll just eat myself, and just the way, I don't know, the way his jaw wraps around his whole body is vile. Yeah, what a weirdo in the middle top panel of page 9. Yeah, that's a fucking understatement. Because he is. A great panel at the top of page 10 with the strike to Wapol's face and the interaction between Luffy and Nami that follows at page 11. We talk about how comical and lighthearted this manga can be while still addressing really serious things. That's kind of a good example of that. I like that even in the midst of a potential very real danger, I guess, Nami never misses an opportunity to hustle and make a profit. Like, they're not out of the woods yet. And she's on Luffy about her jacket, and
she has the confidence to be worried about that. She's like, "You'll handle this,
yes,
but you'll also
pay me back for my freaking jacket and interest and everything." Love her, to be honest. That comedy continues over on pages 12 and 13, and again, the layout of the panel helps us in pacing that humor, I feel like. The key is noticeably absent. When we get to the top 3 panels where everyone stands quiet, Wapol makes a dash for it. it's, again, the pacing is so good. It's like I could hear the crickets going. And like, obviously there would be no crickets. It's full of snow, but it's almost as if I could hear the crickets. Luffy follows him, and then Nami reveals that she took the key. It was great. It was really good pacing in terms of the humor and the comedy here. I just wanted to point out for the Royal Drum Crown 7-shot tin Tyrant Cannon, it's shaped like a walkie, like
Yes.
like
Yep,
the creature
A
that
white walkie.
yeah, the creature that Robson is. That's what it's shaped like. Yeah, Wapol losing it at the bird at the top of page 18 really made me giggle. Like, how dare you mock me? I am the king of Drum Kingdom. I am your ruler. Meanwhile, the bird is just like, ah.
What? Can you translate?
No, actually, that's the secret.
You don't speak snowbird.
Exactly. Actually,
You are
I'm Canadian.
kind of a snowbird, yeah.
Right? Am I not? I escaped the cold Canadian spring this past April to go down south, technically. So I guess I am a snowbird. But yeah, I thought, top of page 18 really made me laugh, especially with the bird's cute little face and the wah onomatopoeia.
So
like, that was adorable. And then, as Dylan pointed out, the last page, I thought it was a really good last page with Chopper reflecting on Luffy calling him his friend. I knew it would come back. Yeah, kind words tend to stick with you. And Luffy proudly saying that he's a pirate. It's to me, that was a really good and exciting midpoint in this volume. So
Yeah.
that's what I have for 150.
My first thought on this chapter was how did a man the size of a house disappear? I mean, I know Luffy was distracted, but that's a big boy.
He was really distracted.
He
though.
was, he was very distracted. I liked seeing Nami back in the kind of conversation
mix.
here. Yeah, the mix.
Yeah.
Seeing Wapol eat himself was absolutely ridiculous, and I think I'm echoing V and maybe Dylan as well. It was so One Piece. I like his slimmed down look. As a plus sized man myself, I don't have anything against Chunky Wapol, but he's kind of like
boy.
given wizard, right?
Yes, yes.
Like an iron wizard. That sounds cool as fuck, just on concept alone.
Next D&D character, maybe?
Oh, maybe for Dylan. A forge cleric, but only 1 point in cleric, the rest in wizard. I'm a forge wizard. Yeah, no. You're so scared to play a wizard anyway. So, at first I wrote, when did Luffy rip the arms off of this jacket? And then I remembered. I wrote it down. I crossed it out and wrote it down. I was like, oh yeah. So, yes, hilarious reaction from Nami. Big gun, cute nest with the birds.
Yeah.
Cute birds. They say gwoogle. I don't know why, but that was like so. Like at the beginning, they say gwoogle.
Gwoogle.
I don't know why you're saying that. You're not. That's not a bird noise, but yeah, I gotcha. And then I wrote, V, please translate this for me. What does Google mean? But it's a secret, of course.
Right. I'm not going to reveal our secrets to this
Right. You and
audience.
the other birds should keep your secrets.
It's a bird thing.
Fine, keep your secrets. Wapol's face is on page 17.
Oh, yeah.
Gave me so much joy, and I felt it. And I, actually, to rewind, the little silent stare down that both of you pointed out, that was
hilarious.
It was done perfectly in print.
Yeah.
Like, every bit of that landed for me. And then, finally, Luffy grabbing him by his fucking face. Luffy's not going to slam him. He's going to rip his face off at this point. Loved it. Loved those little interactions here. And to conclude, I said, okay, so while I'm not blown away, I would say this is very good. It was a fun little romp through the castle. Mm-hmm. We get to see a different side of Wapol. Nami was involved. She's doing her thief stuff. And I really liked Luffy grabbing Wapol. And we get a nice little sweet Chopper moment, too. I feel like it had a lot of decent stuff going on here. And I enjoyed it. But yeah, that's what I had for 150.
So, 151. We are introduced to a new pirate in the intro image story. He is apparently Captain Eureka, and his pirates are the Tulip Pirates, which makes sense considering the tulips everywhere, from the Jolly Roger to the hairstyles and even the arm stance. Looking forward to finding out more about this person. I feel like so far the people that we have seen in the intro image stories have been characters that we've seen before, although Garp is one that we've only seen in the intro image story so far, right? So actually maybe not so unique. Still, something to keep in mind. Captain Eureka. I'm gonna try to remember with my terrible memory. Yeah, Zoro commenting on the view at the top of page 3. I don't know. I love a man. Anything Zoro does is worthy of praise, guys. And
the bar is like down here for Zoro.
He breathes. Look at him.
The bar is a curb.
But still, I love a man that just existing.
Every now and then it catches me off guard and I stumble, but for the most part, it's easy.
I love a man that can appreciate his scenery. You know, everyone else is like up, you know, panicking and worried, and he's like, what a great view. I don't know. I like him. Okay. At the top of page 4, Wapol calls Dalton a vassal. And for some reason, that felt so brutal in that moment. Because a vassal is a servant, or a serf, or whatever. Like
it's a servant to a king.
Right. Someone that is dominated over by an authority figure, which in this case would be a king in the truest sense of the word. And I feel like coming from Wapol, being a vassal truly is something pathetic and shameful. So when he calls someone that, I think he means it as something extremely offensive. Kind of like a slur. Almost.
Right. Historically speaking, a vassal would probably still be a person of high standing.
Right, but I feel like
but
coming from him, I think he sees himself as so far superior to others that coming from him, calling someone a vassal feels dirty. Because he doesn't see him as his equal. And he kind of relishes in that difference in power and difference in authority. Does that make sense?
Right. Yes.
And also the shot of Wapol at the top of page 5 to me was super creepy. Like, the wide mouth, the crazed eyes, the way his face is, like, shadowed in, even the perspective, the way that we see it. And then what he says is super humiliating. Just say you're sorry and I'll forgive you, Dalton. Like, he's trying to get him to surrender, to fold, to bend at the knee, and it's like he gets off on it, almost. Like, I hate to say it like that, but it feels like he's getting off on it.
There's something to what you're saying. He clearly relishes...
He relishes in it, that's
subordination.
Yeah, like...
Maybe he's not secure in his own place.
Yeah,
it's kind of the callback to Game of Thrones. It's like any king who has to continuously tell people who's a king is no king.
Right.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, not a worthy one.
Yeah.
But yeah, we cut back to the present with Luffy's hand grasping at Wapol's face. So satisfying, like that bottom half of page 5. Like, I love seeing like his Luffy's finger in Wapol's eye, basically. Like, I don't know, like that's all he deserves. What a fucking turd. Anyway, I'm gonna be that person, guys. Page 8. I feel like Munch Mutation Tongue Cannon could be the name of a cunning...
Talking about tongue punching people's fart boxes?
Oh, I think you should talk about tongue punching someone's a different box.
Yes.
Not where the farts come out.
No, yeah.
You tell me if a dude ever said that before doing that, you're gonna be like, you gotta go.
It's like you guys remember in American Pie, they have like this book and there's this instruction manual for the twister.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love the scene where the dad's coming up to get her for dinner, and she's like, I'm coming. He's like, all
All
right.
right.
And just turns around and walks away.
Like, to me, that's what Munch Mutation Tongue Cannon reminds me of. Is a cunnilingus. How do you say that word in English?
Cunning linguist.
Cunning linguist. Technique. Anyway, let's quickly move on from this moment. Once again.
And then Luffy afterwards, like, hey, just try and eat me. Or beforehand.
Someone might. A little twink.
Moving on.
A little flexible.
Moving on.
A flexible twink like
Is this
that.
the point where we stop?
Podcast is canceled. No, it's not. Okay, getting back to more serious things. Over page 9, it feels as though time is suspended with the explosion and then the quiet setting in afterwards. Again, speaking of the pacing through the pages, that's another good example. I feel like Dalton is very compelling, basically as compelling as can be in what he says at page 11 when he says, "Who cares about power and order? What's so wrong about wanting your country to have heart?" And his expression on the bottom panel conveys his resolve very well at page 11. And then, from the bottom of page 12, I'm gathering this is kind of like a kamikaze mission for Dalton. I can't say I'm surprised. He seems like the kind of guy that would literally sacrifice himself for the benefit of his country. Basically the opposite of Wapol, who is really just a pathetic piece of shit. Again, don't like him very much, in case you haven't figured that out yet. Yeah, and now we're picking up the fight between Luffy and Wapol. I don't have much in the way of notes about this, but I have to say I'd be curious to see how this translates in the anime. I felt like the snowy mountains make for an interesting setting for a fight. It feels so big that I'm curious to see how big the movements and the fighting looks like in it. Like, for example, the top of page 17 is a really good example of that. As Luffy charges up his Gum Gum Bazooka, I'd be curious to see how... Right, and I'd be curious to see in the anime how big that looks. And it's a really good way to end the chapter, and I have thoughts about this a little bit later on. It feels like... I'm not too sure that that's the end that I wanted for Wapol. And let's get back to it later.
Sure.
But let me just I felt like at the time when I read that was a good way to end the chapter, but I didn't think that would be the end of Wapol, and that left me wanting more in retrospect. And again, I will speak to that a bit later, but in the moment I thought it was a good way to end this chapter, just not what I was expecting for Wapol. Anyway, at the bottom of page 17, Kureha says, "The king has lost to the skull and bones." And the next page, we get a really good 2-pager of Luffy and Wapol close-ups and the impact of the bazooka. Quite dynamic as far as the movement lines. But I have thoughts later on this. But let's just say that's all I have to say about chapter 151 for now. Dylan?
All right.
Yeah. The Tulip Pirates... That's interesting, I get. Do not like them.
What?
Do not like.
And then we get to see the torture scenes, which I'm guessing this happens directly after he lets Tony go. And again, like the bottom page 5 is like, who cares about this? Who cares about the king? And then bottom panel is the king getting ready to get his ass kicked. The snowbird at the top, like as he's sitting there ranting and raving, just like googling. Also, that bird's kind of rocking a mullet itself.
Yeah, he looks like you a little bit.
That's true.
And then eventually he's like, I'm a member of the world government. You committed an international crime.
Shut up.
I don't care about that either. He's already got a $30 million in for a penny, in for a pound, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm already considered a wanted criminal. And of course, he tries to eat him, and then you get more of like the finger web trap thing. He didn't call it this time, but... And the tongue cannon thing is interesting, just because it's like, seeing Luffy before, it's like, why is Luffy looking like he's worried? Because you've definitely launched cannonballs back at the shooter. If anything, it's just going to kill the ever-living shit out of Wapol.
Yeah. I thought the same thing.
And again, like you mentioned, page 9, Oda is really good of having like a really super catastrophic moment be immediately followed by a blanket of silence. And just
lets it land.
The atmosphere and the feeling you get behind that is big. And then also really powerful, what's so wrong about it? Wanting your country to have a heart. And then Vivi's reaction to it immediately after. Because that's exactly how she feels. And then Dalton immediately being like, all right, people, when I get in there into the castle, I got this bomb strapped to my chest. Run away.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
I didn't know I was working with Al-Qaeda here.
Wait a minute.
Damn, dude. It's like, you're allowed to walk away from things, right?
No, I don't think he is. I don't think he feels...
It's like, well, they didn't kill me with the arrows. Guess I'll do it myself. And then I love you cut back to Wapol in the tower. It's like, haha, you let your guard down. And then Luffy being directly behind him. It's like, no, I didn't. You did. And I like the move he uses when he just like coils himself up with all that pent up energy and does the bow gun. That's a cool move. I like that. I guess it is pretty dynamic. The irony that he is stuck in the top of the tower, being forced to stare at the pirate flag. And there's nothing he can do about it. And then Luffy just again appears on the rooftop next to him.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, he is just kind of like confronted with the thing he detests possibly the
And
most.
you can see it pisses him the fuck off. He's mad about it on 16.
Yeah.
It's just like, damn it, fuck that thing. And then the charge up of the Gum Gum. And the fact that his hands are over the village, which again speaks that he's stretching like miles.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous because, like Oda said, there's a limit to it. And it's like that limit seems like it's pretty fucking extensive.
But the
it
frick
may
is
be
it?
a trick of perspective.
It could be, but it's just like from where you're
It doesn't
seeing it, it's
feel
just like
huge.
and the fact that he's calling it out, like he's giving it 3 Gum Gums. And then I also like the instant like Wapol's immediately bargaining. He's like, "No, I'm cooked." Oh, he's like, "Wait, I'll give you title medals." And as he's ready, he's getting ready to launch it off. It's like, how about Vice King? And then those two pages, that panel, because you go the 2 half panels of them both screaming, and then you get the full page for the bazooka, which is really nice. I like that. That's a really pretty scene.
It really lets out the aggression that was built
Yeah.
up, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do get to feel the release of that pent up energy, seeing that image. And then chapter is over. Wapol, assumedly dead. Although at this point, I don't see a corpse. They're not dead.
He's far enough away that we won't see him for a little bit, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got.
So I'm going to jump right to page 8, because I think one of our most consistent themes is the body horror of One Piece. I think we all consistently point that out, and Dylan touched on it. I was surprised you didn't, V. But the fingers stretching to...
I know.
God.
It's like I noticed it visually.
It's a little nasty, right?
Yeah, it is.
Is it a little unsettling? Okay.
It is. No, it is unsettling. I guess it kind of happened between the, like, Luffy restating his whole I don't care about that either thing, and then the scene with the castle and the quiet. I don't know, like, a lot happened.
Yeah.
But I did take note of it, and I thought to myself, ew. But I guess I didn't take the time to actually note it down.
Because you're the queen of horror.
Yes.
I just want to let all of our listeners know that if anyone
do be
is
true.
the monarch of horror, it's me.
I'll take it.
And so, I don't know if either of you know this name. Maybe some of our listeners will. Junji Ito.
Yes.
Ito.
Oh, Junji Ito's got some amazing stuff. Although the Netflix special they did fell really fucking flat.
They did a Netflix special.
They did a Netflix
yeah.
where they covered a lot of his really popular, and they fall flat as fuck. It just doesn't translate.
Right. There's
But the image, I've seen people review the
yeah.
mangas, and it's like, holy shit, yeah, it's creepy as fuck.
There are certain things that should be left to a certain medium, and I feel like Junji Ito is one of those examples where the translation between manga and anime maybe isn't as seamless as you would want it to, because it's so far in the body horror of it all that it's hard for that to actually be
You need some time
expressed
to linger.
right, exactly. And Junji Ito is another one of those creators or mangakas or whatever you want to call him that does really well with the pacing of things happening, the layout of the pages having something to do with the way that you the way that you experience it.
Because I've never read them. I've just watched people like, again, Wendigoon covered it.
Yeah, he did one of his stories.
Canyon covered it. And the thing that's like I'm seeing from it is like when you get the big reveals, when it's in a manga, it gives you time. You're there with it. You get to see it and see everything about it. But when it's an animation, it's like, big reveal.
You can stare at that page for as long as you want to, as long as you need to actually process it and take it in. Whereas, like you said, Dylan, when it's an anime,
the swirl
it
one,
passes.
you're like, it's like, oh shit, no, I need to like sit here for a minute and drink it all in.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck am I looking at?
Yeah, it's fucked.
Yeah, that guy is a master of drawn comic horror.
Yeah.
Shout out to Junji. I also wondered why can't he just bounce the bullet back down his throat? But it's not. It's not very exciting ending, perhaps. I don't know. I said it. I briefly mentioned it, but I wrote it down that Dalton is going full Al Qaeda. Bro is ready to give everything for this kingdom, and props to him, I guess. But like, Luffy's got this. Like, you're not listening. And then 15. I really like seeing Wapol gasping for air, screaming for anything. Because, again, he does not deserve respect. Like,
No.
I don't, like, I'm not a bad person. I'm not like, Arlong was right. I'm not like, Don Krieg was right, or Kura was right. But
Arlong
they're so
was right.
much better.
Oh, God, Michael.
They're so much better. They're more interesting. I respect them as villains, at the very least.
Yes.
I don't respect
Whereas
Wapol.
Wapol is despicable. Like, he's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's despicable me. But to counter what V was saying, I don't know what she's going to say next chapter, but I was fine with Wapol just getting blown away. Good riddance. You aren't worth any more than what you've gotten. Like, goodbye, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen.
Atsu, yeah.
But yeah, just kind of summarize, I'm glad Wapol's gone. I can't say I will miss him in any form of the word. He was not the most interesting villain. He was not the most principled. He was kind of goofy, which is fine. It's fine. But again, I'm comparing him to what's come before. And I didn't like his lackeys. So I thought Drum Kingdom did well in what it did well, but I just thought the villains fell a little flat. They don't really do much, the group of them. This chapter was very good, but once again, I'm kind of repeating myself a little bit. It wasn't great. I can't think of much to say to the negative, but goodbye, Wapol. And yeah, that's 151 for me. 152 will be Dylan.
I will admit, I like the cover art.
Yeah.
The fact that, it's kind of funny to see, like, they're kind of all in, like, a studious kind of setting. It's like they're all still, no, never mind, he's reading with his feet. Gross.
I mean, it is what it is.
I mean, the giant St. Bernard helps a lot for me.
I know. I noted that too.
Kaho being bored.
Who?
Kaho. Or Kahu, whatever the fuck is the bird.
Karoo?
I always fuck that up. Kahu. The bird. I love him. He's there. It's great. And also, like, Usopp drawing, and I'm just like, I know the bird's drawing too, but in my headcanon, I prefer to think of it as the bird is just mocking Usopp. So yeah, this is what you look like. You look like a fucking idiot. And then, of course, Zolo having to,
Who's reading with their feet?
Be extra. It's Luffy. He's turning the pages with his feet. Oh. He's eating meat.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice a book
in his hands. Lap. His hands are busy, so he's
got glasses on.
Yeah.
And the fact that
look at him go.
Zolo is holding up like a 500-pound weight with the book. He's like, man, if I'm going to read it, I'm going to be lifting at the same time,
grind
bro.
Never stops.
Yeah.
He is
I'm on that fucking Sigma grind set, my guy.
Sigma grind set? Never say those words again.
Dylan, I grant you permission to say those words
no,
twice.
Please don't. Oh, what?
You can't stop me when I'm on my grind. I'm a little confused. That bottom right panel on 3, that looks like Wapol's chin.
It does look like Wapol's chin.
So that's
breezed over it.
I didn't notice it like my first couple times going through it, but now looking at it, it's like that looks...
Yeah, because it looks studded, like the edges look studded.
Yeah, like it's riveted.
Yeah.
That's... I wonder if that's going to come back later in the next volume.
Mayhaps.
I love, like, Usopp and Zolo are coming. Oh, of course. Usopp's like, oh, I'll help. He's like, you're scared. Just stay behind. He's like, I'm not scared. I want to go.
I'm a big boy.
But as they're coming up, like, Luffy comes flying out of the air. And he's like, what? And they're like, what the fuck, dude? What are you doing? And he's like, oh, it's you guys.
He nails
like,
Usopp.
Sorry. Yeah. He's like, sorry, your clothes look familiar. I thought you were the bad guys. And, of course, I love the fact that, like, while they're kind of, like, filling each other in, fucking Usopp's in the background spinning a yarn. Well, like, they're like, all right, well, I said something to you. Now I'm just going to proceed to ignore you and talk to the adults.
Right.
So it's like, the last moment I left aside of my usual grace because I'm Captain Usopp.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
Yeah. Of course, Dalton finally catches up and was like, so that thing that flew across the sky earlier was Wapol. What about the other two? It's like, oh, the reindeer clobbered him. I love how I was like, oh, the reindeer took care of Wapol's men, and then brain-dead reindeer over here, peeking incorrectly. Like a friggin'
It's just
idiot.
a quirk, okay? He's just a little quirky guy. It's really cute.
But Dalton eventually he's still stupid. Dalton has the realization that who he is, and then immediately bows to him. He's like, oh, thank you. Like, now this kingdom has a chance to be born anew. And of course, Usopp overreacts and calls him a monster, and then, again, he's like, you call me monster? That's so mean. It hurts my feelings.
He's healing.
It's a process, okay?
And then, of course, Luffy immediately, like, steps in. It's like, what do you do? That's my new mate. You scared him off, you fucking idiot. And then immediately starts chasing him down. It's like, wait, Reindeer, you're going to join my crew whether you like it or not. And then, of course, the fucking bottom panel of that, it's like, you people, and they're like, gulp, it's Dr. Correa. It's like, nice read, Velma, Jesus. Which is pretty much like, all right, we're going to get everybody to the infirmary, I'm going to heal them up. And then Nami and Sanji are kind of off the side, they're like, oh, well, yeah, we could sneak out of here. And she kicks the wall down. She's like, I should get to the fucking infirmary.
She kicks about as good as Sanji does in that, at least in that moment.
Even, like, maybe even better. Who knows? Maybe Red Shoe Zeph and Correa had a fling back in the day.
Oh, I like that.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Oh, if you take that, you will pay me. No.
Next chapter that's being published.
And then you hear a lot of screaming and snapping, so I'm guessing, and then we get to see it's like, oh, okay, yep, Shanji's spine has been reset.
That panel of him is very BDSM code. At least that's how I read it.
Alright, fuck.
Which one?
Page 11, middle on the right.
Yes, I took note of that. I'm looking at it in my notes right now.
But, yeah, and then Correa is looking for the key. And, of course, Nami being Nami is like, well, how about you're looking for that key? How about this? How about you waive the fee for my crew and let me leave immediately? And I'll give you the key. And I don't know, you, like, definitely get some, like, Jurassic Park vibes when she, Correa's like, you got a lot of guts bargaining with me. Clever girl.
Clever girl.
And she's like, all right, your account's paid in full, but as for releasing you, forget it. As a doctor, I can't. And then, like, I also kind of makes me like Correa more when she's pretty much just like, all right, listen here, girl, I'm going downstairs for a while. My coat's in a drawer in the back room, and I don't have any guards posted. And the boy with the broken back, his treatment is completed. Don't try to sneak away. And I was like, did she just tell me to take her coat and Sanji and sneak away? And Vivi's like, yeah, I think she did.
I think Vivi is the closest to a voice of reason we have.
Yes.
And hearing her says, okay.
Yeah, it's like, okay, that's the two sensible people agree that's what they want. So I'm going for it. And Luffy's just calling out, being like, hey, reindeer, let's be pirates. And everyone else is like, dude, like, read the room. He's not interested. He's just grateful and everything, but I'm a reindeer. I have antlers and hooves and a blue nose. I can never be part of your group. I want to thank you. And of course,
My little baby.
Pretty much 2-page panel of fucking Luffy just being like, fuck that nonsense. Let's be pirates. It's a really good scene.
You are a pirate.
You're
a Harley Beedly. And I like how Solo's, I would change his mind. Solo's quickly turned to be that one guy who always has a sarcastic ask remark, even when it's not even called for. It's like, I have a feeling there's going to be at one point he's going to say something and like someone's just like, bro, can you just like shut the fuck up? Like for once? You don't always have to say something.
No, Dylan, apparently he's perfect and can't do any wrong.
Well, in V's world. But yeah, I would say that's a great scene. Of course, Tony Toner starts fucking crying again. Tony Toner, the printer man.
Tony Toner, the printer man.
Printer accessories. But that's all I got. And I think it appropriately ends with fucking Tony crying into the fucking air and Luffy being like, yeah! Anyways, that's all I got.
Because he's having emotions.
Wow.
God forbid Dylan ever have actual emotions.
Anyway. Yes, 152. My very first thought was, puppy. Look at the baby. I love that Zoro is laying on top of him reading a book while lifting weights on the book. I don't know, again, maybe this is me romanticizing Zoro. Audience, you let me know. He looks like a guy that would like dogs, and I inherently like people that like dogs. I'm also noting that this is I think this is the first intro image where we see Chopper as being a Straw Hat, as being part of the group. Yeah. Overall, super cute intro image. Really like seeing everyone in that context. The top of page 4 was a little bit funny with Luffy raging and then suddenly realizing who it is and saying, oh, Zoro and Usopp. I don't know. Oh, okay, that's you guys. Hi. Yeah, I thought
knocking Usopp to the ground.
Destroying him. Yeah, I also had a chuckle at so Usopp at page 5 starts kind of rambling, just on, and that's very Usopp of him, just trying to fill in the silence or trying to come up with excuses. I don't know, maybe a bit of both. I really enjoyed how the next couple pages unfolded. At the bottom of page 6, we see Chopper peeking the wrong way again, which I happen to find
cute.
adorable. I have in parentheses in my notes, little cutie. Dalton recognizes him, and then he bows to him to thank him. Why did it give me Return of the King vibes when Aragorn kneels before the hobbits?
Everything is a Lord of the Rings reference.
That's because Lord of the Rings is a complete and fulsome work of fiction, and that's why it's easy to refer to. Okay, eat my ass. Anyway, anyway, my heart. I had a little moment there where Dalton bows to
Chopper.
Was it to Luffy or to Chopper?
Chopper.
To Chopper, yeah. Anyway, very, very sweet. Okay, and then Usopp, thanks for fucking ruining it. I'm not saying that he's overreacting. Chopper is a little bit of a strange sight, but I feel like Usopp at this point must have seen a lot more unsettling sights than that, and he didn't react that strongly. And in this case, Chopper is in his cute form too. He has even less of a reason to freak out. If he wasn't his humanoid form, then yeah, obviously. But he's so cute right now. At the bottom of page 10, I thought that the perspective there was interesting with Kuriha kicking down the wall where Nami and Sanji are hiding. I just thought that was an interesting shot in terms of action. And then, yeah, I noted, mid-page 11, Sanji tied up to a bed. I mean, I would. Listen, I'm a Zora girly at heart, but
any man tied down.
I mean, you're not wrong, but as far as anime or manga husbands go, Sanji's cute. His attitude isn't exactly where I would want it to be.
He would respect the hell out of you.
But
would. Maybe to an annoying extent.
Exactly, like the love bombing. They treat me bad. Yeah. Like, please disrespect me. Disrespect me just a little bit. I beg you. Anyway, but still, the sight of him tied up to it was great. Maybe I lingered on it a little. Who knows? I absolutely love that Nami bargains with Kuriha over pages 12 and 13. Like, who else but her would stand up to the old hag? She's so intimidating. Great and Nami, meanwhile, cool as a cucumber. And, we do kind of see throughout the way that this volume ends, Kuriha is actually a softie. We saw it last volume a little bit. We saw her get emotional. And even here you can tell that she does care. She doesn't put up a fight for the money. She agrees to waive the fees for the treatment. And while she still is standing by her Hippocratic oath, she's not stopping Nami from leaving. So yeah, she is much more of a softie than she lets on. And so we get to the moment where Chopper explains that he wants to join the Straw Hats but doesn't feel like he can. And while I don't have a lot of specific thoughts on it, I have a lot to say. Again, this is me, I don't know if I'm reading too much into it or if it's me relating to some fictional character too much. But to me, this is an example of, let me backtrack a little. I know that some people might say that he's being a crybaby, and by some people I mean Dylan.
Not wrong.
So I know that some people might say that, and that he's playing the victim, or he's fishing for attention. But in truth, to me, it seems like he's just living with the effects of real trauma. I think he truly does not feel like he's worthy of joining them. He truly does not believe that he belongs with them or with anyone else for that matter. And again, I won't get into it, but as someone who has been there, I deeply understand how difficult it is to realize that some people will love you for who you are, even when you can't offer yourself that same love and that same patience. And to me, of course, it's in the context of a manga and it's cartoony and exaggerated, but to me it feels very genuine and it feels very real. And sometimes people like that just need people like Luffy that will tell them to just shut up and give it a shot. even though it might be terrifying. And that whole spread at pages 18 and 19 was wonderful, with the wide shot of the castle and everyone in front of it, and then get the close-up on Chopper's teary eye and the rest of the crew underneath it. Like, I like that a lot. I thought it was very sweet. And I guess to me that's kind of when this new era of the Straw Hats begins.
Straw Hat.
Is with that moment. That solidifies it to me. And that makes it that much more important and compelling. So that's what I have for 152. Sorry, I feel like I kind of started rambling.
So, I will go ahead and say the cover. Bizarre. Why is there a big dog? Why are they in this flora covered place? I don't know, but they seem to be having a great time, and I'm happy for them. And Chopper is in it. He is a part of this intro shot, which I think
they kind of let you know beforehand.
Exactly. And if you don't pick it up, you'll get it soon. Luffy knocking out Usopp. I loved that. He says, on sight, if I see a Wapol uniform, I'm attacking. Bottom of page 6. I still love the Chopper bits where he's looking the wrong way.
I know!
And then it's so nice of Dalton to show appreciation to him, because that is the validation he needs, that he means something to anyone.
Yeah.
The Sanji panel on page 11, we've gone over this a little bit. It's just like, that's kind of weird to show right here. You don't see much more of Sanji in this chapter, but you definitely see him fucking tied down. It feels a little dirty. I don't know. This gives me a little bit of... So, I've never actually seen the movie, but just from pop culture, I feel like I know a good bit of it. Misery by Stephen King.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dr. Correa is whatever her name is. She's a great actress. Her name escapes me.
Well,
Melissa Joan Hart is the wrong answer, but
no,
it's the first name
Kathy Bates.
Kathy Bates, yes.
Yeah.
Correa could have absolutely been played by Kathy Bates in an alternate universe. And then I will just jump to the end. What a great, sweet, heartfelt panel. It made me tear up a little bit of Luffy saying, just shut up and come with us. Because he knows. Luffy has this emotional intelligence that just is not matched. He knows that Chopper wants to go, and he's ready to let him in. So, yeah, cute little wrap-up chapter. The heartwarming vibes of this little arc, I'm speaking of the arc as a whole, are ever present, and especially here. The beginning of a sweet, adorable goodbye. I'm talking about Chopper and Correa. A little sad, but it's still... We'll get to it, but it's beautiful. And a fine beginning to the end of Drum Island. Mm-hmm. I liked this a lot. I thought this was good. And then 153 will be V.
Yeah. So 153. Yeah. So this is kind of where my my thoughts on Wapol's end come back.
Okay.
And I thought I had a fleeting thought about it while reading the previous chapter, but I guess I hadn't realized up until now that Wapol had been properly dealt with. And I'm not going to say that he died because I'm not stupid. I know that even if we see a dead body in this manga, I don't trust it to be final, so why would I trust this? But I guess it made me realize that the reality of Wapol's demise hadn't set in, and it felt maybe a bit abrupt, because I guess I didn't see him. We saw the blow, but we didn't see much of what happened to him following the blow. And I don't know if that makes sense, but it felt like, oh, okay, I guess that's it. It didn't feel final. And maybe that's on purpose, but we'll see. But yeah, because I guess I was getting to the beginning of chapter 153, and I'm like, wait, by this point, we should have finalized the whole Wapol thing. And I was like, wait a minute. Anyway, it just felt a little off to me. I like the callback to the last chapter at page 3, where Korha notes that there are fewer people there than when she left, and her calling them troublemakers, even though she clearly didn't stop them. She's like, oh, where are they gone? They disobeyed your orders. I see. Bunch of troublemakers. Like, you did this. This is you. Thanks for pretending, I guess. She has a reputation to uphold, I guess, is what this is about. I also see her lashing out at Chopper over the next few pages as misplaced affection. Because to me, I think she's afraid of Chopper getting hurt. She trusts in her ability to take care of him, and she's scared that if he leaves, he'll be vulnerable, and maybe that's a weird way for her to, like, hurt him before someone else or something else can hurt him. I don't care for how she goes about expressing those feelings to Chopper, but I understand where she's coming from. It's kind of funny how the Straw Hats were saying that it was an emotional departure. I don't think they expected such aggressive emotions, but I still think that the basis of all of this is emotion. I think she's scared for him.
Hiriluk wanted better than her.
Right, exactly. And Hiriluk made it very clear that he wanted her to care for him and that he wanted him to be safe. And I feel like that's kind of her letting go of that control, so to speak, that she had over his well-being, or at least the way that he was feeling and being perceived and whatever. Like, it's complicated. But yeah, like, not surprised that she would react negatively, but I still don't think it's necessarily healthy. Okay, and now I understand why, Michael, you were saying that we were going to get some Santa Claus vibes. The 2-pager at pages 10 and 11, it's everything. I love the way it's drawn with the shape of the carriage in front of the full moon, Chopper's pulling the sleigh, Kuriha's watching them from the cliff.
E.T. vibes.
Also E.T. vibes, that's true. You could see the bicycle in front of the moon, basically. Yeah, that was great. That was really, really great. Loved the way that this was drawn. Again, the Kuriha's expressions are so vivid and so genuine and so human. Like, at the top of page 13, it feels so sincere. Especially as we're getting Chopper's inner dialogue about achieving his dreams. I thought that was great.
It was nice, yeah.
It was really nice. So, okay. My heart went through something with the end of this chapter. There were tears when I first read it. The whole end of the chapter had me, first of all, captivated. As soon as I saw Kuriha screaming, "Everything set, kiddies," I knew I was going to feel things. And I knew in my heart that it was nothing bad, but I did think at first that there were going to be fireworks. And at first I didn't quite get it, because we don't see color in the manga. All we see is regular snow falling.
Yep.
But then we see the panel at the middle of page 17 when Hiriluk talks about the red powder, and that's when it clicked. I kind of lost it a little bit when we just see below brilliant pink snowflakes will fall. Those were the cherry blossoms that he said that he would bring to Drum Island, and he did it. And that's beautiful. Like, he achieved what he set out to do, and I can only imagine how inspiring this must be for Chopper. And just, it's such a good culmination of everything that's sort of happened so far with Hiriluk's story. I really liked that. I really, really liked that. And then we get the 2-pager of the mountains with Kuriha saying, "Now then, go on, you foolish boy." And Chopper is crying his little heart out.
What a fucking surprise.
I have in my notes, I know Dylan will hate how much crying Chopper has done this chapter, but
I mean, I'm just more talking about, like, in general, I hate how much he cries.
But I really feel for him. He's gone through a lot, and he has a lot of emotions, and they're all very big emotions. And I don't know. It's just so good. I really enjoyed this chapter. I really, really liked it. And that's what I have. Dylan?
Yeah. One thing I really want to talk on is with Correa, how you were like, I guess everybody like, I don't think he's going to be safe. No, I think it's more kind of what she was doing earlier with the boy. She's like, no, like, I want you to go, but I need to check your resolve first.
Yeah.
I need to make sure you actually truly want to go. I need to force you to make a stand and take action. That's how I looked at it, because that's kind of how I view Correa cheat. No bedside manner. Super rough about it, but the reason she does that is to test your resolve, test your humanity. Make sure that you're being honest with yourself.
So we're almost at the end of this. Let me pose this, because we're going to save it for final thoughts. But, like, Correa as a character, personally,
Good character.
absolutely think, yeah, she's one of the strongest characters we've seen as far as a,
Just like a little kind of like
character.
Side throwaway character, yeah.
That was great writing.
Yeah. I think without her and Hiriluk, if we took all that out and tried to do this, it'd fall flat.
Yeah.
Or if you just did Hiriluk and it's like, oh, that's how I learned about it. It was just all Hiriluk, and now I've just been staying here honoring his memory. It'd fall flat. Correa really brings things full circle.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of depth of character to her in her approach with people and in her mission and what she wants to accomplish. Like, she's a complex and multifaceted character.
She feels among the most human characters that
she really does.
Encountered.
And I noted that also just in the way that she was drawn. She felt very human and unique. And I have a lot of appreciation for her as a character. At first, I didn't know what to think.
Yeah.
At first, I was like, I don't know, man. And then the more you get to know her, the more you're like, I want someone like her in my corner.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It'll definitely push you out of your comfort zone kind of person.
Yeah, but she's going to do so lovingly.
Yeah, I get that. But during all that, I love like the chase with the knife. That's her thing, is throwing knives. And I love like when it cuts to all the people, it's like, oh, let's hurry up and get these cannons out. She's going to be pissed. And then Chopper just goes running through them. And they're like, oh, shit. Because she's just throwing knives willy-nilly into her crowd. And of course, at this point, Chopper's like drags out his sleigh. He's like, all right. And then just like the haphazard, like jumping into the sleigh and taking off into the distance was fun. Again, a 2-page spread of 10 and 11. Phenomenal. And the fact that like people saw the sleigh, they're like, oh, that's her sleigh and her reindeer. Oh, God, she's coming. Just the amount of like fear all the people have of Dr. Correa. The witch! A duck? Sorry. It brings it full circle when she's like kind of smirking, thinking to herself, it's like, I don't like tearful farewells. It's like, so she was just putting on a show so Chopper didn't have to see her in a moment of weakness. Because knowing Chopper, if she had like started bawling when he was going to leave, Chopper might have stayed.
That's very true, but I also feel like she knew that he needed
to be pushed.
Yeah,
very much agree. And it's a shame that it's black and white.
Yeah.
Because I think being able to have some color to like the reveal of the cherry blossoms. And I will admit, I get the whole cherry blossom thing. Cherry blossoms are fucking beautiful.
They are.
I've been watching YouTuber I really enjoy, CDogVA, lives in Japan, does a lot of content there. He does massive cyclothons, like where he cycles all across Japan. And it's cool because you get to see him just interact with the people, see some of the culture. But this last one I've been watching, there's just like a lot of shots where it's like anime intro-esque, where he's like biking along the side of a river that's just canopied in cherry blossoms.
Wow.
And it's absolutely beautiful. And the more and more I see it, it's like, damn, I really I want to, like, I'll never do it, but I really want to go to Japan. And the fact that it's like, I think color would have really brought a lot of that, just raw emotion to it. It wasn't done poorly. The fact that it's black and white, you can still get that sense of like awe and wonderment from everyone who sees it. It's very well done.
Yeah, like I wish I could have seen it with the color, but it was still meaningful and powerful even without it, right?
And with fireworks comes waterworks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, this is a good cry.
Goodbye, but still, again, it's like, and I don't. Because I think you mentioned something where it's like it's just crying to get attention. I don't think Tony Chopper ever cries to get attention.
No, he just cries.
I think he's just one of those people that's like super duper emotional and just wears it on the sleeve.
I'm a crier.
But at the end of the day, it's also like, I want to keep it a little bit. You don't need to be dumping that shit out at every instance. Like, there's some scenarios it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. But other scenarios, it's like, did you... That cat was so cute. And it's just like, you need to reel it back, dude. Like,
I'm a crier, but I'm not as much of a crier.
This ain't little Ann fucking starving herself after death after Big Dan died, killing a mountain lion. That makes by all means, full tear works for that. But a very good chapter. The end of the chapter, chef's kiss. The whole, he's crying, but it ties in all the emotion. And just like the whole scenario shot from the top of the mountain, just like, go on, you foolish boy. Very chef's kiss ending to that chapter. That's all I got.
All right. So I really appreciated Chopper's. Okay, no, here it is. On page 5, he says, "That's right. I am a reindeer. I'm a man too, because he is both things. If he was just a reindeer, he would be off in the fucking woods eating some leaves or some shit. I don't know what reindeers eat, berries." And he acknowledges both sides of him. And I feel like that's so powerful for him to acknowledge that he is two things at once.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad thing to understand who you are. It's never a bad thing to come to terms with yourself.
That's very true. Look at you being introspective.
Right. I try, son. I gotta be the middle point between Mrs. Emotion and Mr. Grinch over here.
And this is
You're
why we do the
indeed one.
podcast together.
Mr. Grinch.
Sorry, I'm gonna glaze ourselves a little bit, whatever, but I do believe that we give a balance to everything. Though I think I maybe lean a bit more to the emotional side than Dylan. Dylan's just like, yeah, but did you see that black powder that they were using? No smoke. Or maybe there is smoke. I don't know. I don't know enough about gunpowder.
Dylan does, and that's all that matters.
We all bring something to the table, and I appreciate it. We get to see a moment of Luffy, a brief moment. It expands later, but we were talking about Luffy's blindness to the world around him. He doesn't know that Chopper's a doctor. And we see that he was just like, that dude has transformations. That's cool. Let's bring him on. Loved that. And Chopper's loved ones, everyone he's encountered, sure has a funny way of expressing their love. Like, I understand why Chopper does not quite...
Get it?
Yeah. Like, Hiriluk tried to shoot him, even though he did end up accepting him in the end. Kureha chases him with knives. I mean, that can cause some trauma, I think. I don't think he's wrong for feeling the way he does. It's so small, so quick, but when Kureha says, "I don't like tearful farewells," that means so much.
Yeah.
It means that she loves him. It means that he doesn't understand how much she loves him. And she just is not... She's old and she doesn't want to play emotional games. I don't know. I just... it resonated with me so well. It was a sweet send-off. As Dylan said, it all comes full circle here. I mean, we get some more payoff next chapter, but just to kind of summarize, very sweet, very cute, a little sad. It was a good ending. It was a good ending for this particular emotional arc.
I think if it ended up being the volume ending, I would have been very satisfied.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of a lot of criticisms I would have. Just beautiful, emotional moments. And I enjoyed it. And then 154 will be Dylan.
Then again, the opening picture, again, alright, yep. 100% that is full body.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is a very, it's been pretty sure before, but it's like, no, yep, that's him.
I think the title maybe means something here.
Yeah, but it's like the expression, the fit,
Yeah.
we saw that look he has in the Baratier. The imagery of it is just, yeah, okay, that's definitely him. And I do like kind of like the exposition they have in the first page where it's like, and the tale of Hiriluk's cherry blossoms shining in the night would become the symbol of the nation, nameless nation's harm and freedom. They just invented 4th of July. They're like, hey, we got freedom, let's shoot fireworks. Yeah, it's pretty badass. I get it. But leave it to trained professionals. Don't be one of those idiots who blow your own fucking hands off. Anyways.
Or do.
Or what,
I mean, it is like throwing a cup of shock into the gene pool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my favorite analogy for stupid people doing stupid
It
things.
is a good one, yeah.
It's like, yep, just putting a little more chlorine in that gene pool. Which is kind of fucked. Makes me a bad person. Anyways. And I just love the intro. It's like, oh, Dalton, shit, I forgot to tell you. Here's this note. And thank God, they didn't have the wanted poster before they showed up. Because, they got shot without the bounty poster.
Yeah.
I think if the bounty poster happened, they would have just thrown Molotovs at the fucking ship and just set it on fire.
We don't need more of this.
Yeah, shoot anyone who survives. And then, before the name reveal, with Ace, his whole mysterious thing, the side profile at first when you first see him, I was like, shit, is that Shanks? Is it supposed to be Shanks? Because you don't ever get a shot of him where he has two arms, where you see two arms.
I just had to look for a second.
So, but then it was like, oh, the name's Ace. It's like, oh, okay, well, maybe it's not Shanks. And then I saw the close-up show.
I was also thinking that. Yeah.
Until I saw the close-up with the freckles, I was like, okay, I don't think it's Shanks anymore.
Yeah, I feel like the way that he smiles and him having something in his mouth was very reminiscent of Shanks. I could also
just like the cocky smirk.
Yeah.
Or the cocky smirk that is backed up. Yeah.
It's clearly someone who is self-confident.
Oh, yeah, for sure. As the kids say these days. I know.
Sigma.
He's got that skibbity riz.
Guys, please. Don't make me shoot
He's
myself
like, I'm too old
right now.
stop.
Don't make me Kermit suicide.
Those fucking VR chat things. I'm going to commit suicide. Just jumps off a building. So good.
Anyway.
And then we get a little more. Have you ever heard of Gold D. Roger? D, you mean Gold Roger? There's not a soul in the world who hasn't heard of him. It's weird because, like, Correa is referring to him as Gold D. Roger. When the guy tries to script, it's like, oh no, it's Gold. It's like, and then the close up of her is like, so the will of D lives on. Yeah, the D ain't never stopped, baby.
I have thoughts on that.
I knew you would.
May I interject right now about this?
Go for it, yeah, because I heard, yeah, for all me, like I saw that, I was like, this is odd.
So maybe she's right. Maybe it's Gold D. Roger, as in Monkey D. Luffy.
So we had. I think you initially said when we first started that Gold Roger kind of looks like Luffy. They kind of
looks alike, and then
he just needs to grow a mustache. We'll find it out.
Correa kind of confirms that suspicion at the top of page 8 when she says, "So the will of D lives on."
And then you're like,
that's
D's
a good point.
Nuts.
Okay,
yeah, then obviously D's nuts, but with Monkey D. Luffy.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's my thoughts on it.
That actually makes a lot of sense. That's a good theory. I like that.
I'll let you finish what you were saying about that chapter, but that is something I definitely noted when I did my reading.
Because that confused me a lot, but that explanation is like, okay. All right. That is a good... Because I was thinking it's like D. Dragon, maybe? Maybe she's thinking about... Maybe, but no. But that makes a lot more sense. And then we get to cut back to what we like seeing. Just more of the crew being the crew on the ship.
Yep.
Just those are great. Of course, Luffy's being a goofball, shit up his nose, and they're all living it up, chopping it up, having a great time.
Living it up in the sea.
I love it. It's like Nami's immediately scolding him. It's like, how did Karoo end up in the frozen river? It's like, oh well, he's trying to save Zolo. And I was like, well, he's fine now. It's whatever, dude.
Mistake on Karoo's part for underestimating Zoro.
I mean, exactly.
Let Zolo do his thing. And I love the fact that it's like Tony who explains it. I was like, no, he said this. Like, wait, what? You can understand him? It's like, well, yeah, I'm an animal.
Yeah,
we speak animal.
Yeah,
obviously. All animals speak the same language. It's kind of like when you have a druid in D&D.
And of course, Nami's like complimenting fucking Chopper. Chopper's like, oh, well, you can't charm me with the E. Oh, that shit's so annoying. It's so
annoying.
It's funny, but it's so dumb at the same time. Like if I knew a person who was like that in real life, I would get very tired of them very quick.
Clock him right in the face.
It's like, no, you can't do that. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Just take the compliment and move the fuck on. Every time, every single time, you can just be like, oh, thanks, man. That means a lot. Then we're done. And of course, Luffy's like, wait, you're a doctor? It's like, God fucking Luffy. And of course, then we get the reveal. It's like, oh my God, I don't have my medical bag. And she's like, oh, what's this? Correa obviously packed the slave for you.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming he's going to get caught. And they're all like, they start goofing off again, too. And it's just like, oh my God, you two are insufferable. And then fucking Chopper starts doing the same thing. I liked that. Yeah. That to me was like, all right, he's starting to feel part of the. He's starting to feel like he's a part of the crew.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that Usopp takes the initiative to be like, hey, well, like let's make a deal of it. We got a new crew member. Let's raise some glasses. Hell yeah! And then like Zolo and Sanji are getting ready to scrap. And freaking, I like the Chopper sitting there just soaking it all in. It's like, this is the most fun I've ever had. It's like, all right, that's cute. That's cute.
He's not had a great time.
Right?
So I liked all that. The whole crew on the ship, anytime we get those interactions, are always really good, really fun to read. They throw down. I'd probably hang out with these guys. They seem pretty chill. I don't know where I'd fit in the crew. So I'm just gonna pick on Chopper. That's my job.
Hey guys, he's a fucking.
Hey, you see this fucking loser crying again?
No one laughs. They're like, "Why would you say that?"
Like, damn dog, you're kind of an asshole. Whatever. He's a fucking reindeer, right?
It'd be sous chef and resident brat.
Well, that's your role.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And then we cut back to Little Garden, and we see more of Mr. 2. And yeah, from when I first saw of them,
I'm gonna guess Dylan's gonna say nothing has changed.
No, fucking hate it. Absolutely fucking hate it.
Yeah,
makeup, the shoulder piece, the pants. Ugh.
Yeah.
And I don't know, something about like your thighs are clean shaven, but your shins are hairy. Like, so I'm kind of, again, I'm going to call them because there's some things that touch on where he throws around like, oh, you call me Mr. or Mrs. 3. I think he says at some point. I don't know.
I will say with regards to like hairiness on the legs, you will notice that most people have hairier bottom of the legs than top of the legs. I think that is
a fair point.
Part of it is like your pants tend to rub on your thighs more than they do on the lower part.
But that's not a problem for this guy.
No, that's true. But I mean, in a normal human being that wears pants.
Yeah, okay, that's a fair point. But this is more just exposition of what he's doing. It's basically just being like, hey, they failed, we have to kill them. If we fuck up, I'm going to die next, so quit fucking around. Or I'll kill you myself because you're going to get me killed. Seems like a very toxic workplace environment. Would not recommend
working for
a corporation of Baroque Works.
Yeah, I don't know that I would work for Baroque Works.
It seems that Mr. Zero has really high expectations.
Yeah, high pressure environment. Yeah. The deliverables unreasonable. Yeah,
Mrs. HR here putting her fucking.
I love it. I will say to end my thoughts. It's the whole, like, I must keep up appearances because I'm a hero to like, this is supposed to be the big bad villain, but it's like, no, the people love me. I'm a hero to the people. And we get to see more how he interacts with his adoring public. He really gives me, like, Homelander vibes.
Okay.
Where it's like, I thrive on the attention you give me, but you filthy lower beings deserve to give me that attention. Like, I am owed the adoration you give me, and if you don't give it to me, I will turn on you in a second. Based on not in this chapter, but the next chapter, like definitely throws those vibes. I've not seen the
show, but I get that.
That's all I got.
Alrighty. So yes, 154. I thought it was interesting at the top of page 2 to have that little bit of looking ahead. At this point, we've done many flashbacks, but this is the first time that we get a little bit of a hint as to what may happen in the future. At least I think it is. But it's one of the most notable times where they kind of give you an idea of what might happen later on. Speaking of flashbacks, we get a little one here as we're introduced to Ace, and he's apparently looking for Luffy. I was wondering if we had met him before, like, and again, as Dylan was saying, he looked familiar to me, and like I said, I think it's because he looks a little bit like Shanks to me, but beyond that, I can't quite place him. That being said, my memory is not known to be great, so if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me.
I'm not gonna correct you yet in any way.
Okay. But yes, all that's to say he looks familiar. And then, yeah, okay, so we talked about it when Dylan was brought up that point. Middle of page 7, upon looking at the bounty poster for Luffy, she says, have you heard of Goldie Roger? Dalton corrects her by saying it's Gold Roger. But my theory is maybe she is right. That is, it's Goldie Roger, as in Monkey D. Luffy. And yeah, so a little bit later on, Kureha kind of not confirms, but alludes to my suspicion being correct when she says, so the will of D lives on. These nuts. But yes, interesting indeed. Let's see what happens later on with that. As noted, it's good to see the Straw Hats back on the ship, and Chopper has joined them. We get another display of how useful he can be to the crew when he translates what Karoo tells them about how he ended up in the river and got frozen. He speaks animal. Great. Super useful. I wish I
Where were you on fucking Little Garden or whatever?
Right? You could have spoken dinosaur then, maybe. Anyway, but yes, super useful. Let's see how else that comes in handy later on in this adventure. And then, yeah, over pages 11 and 12, we also find out that Kuriha had packed Chopper's bag and put it on the sleigh, knowing that they would use it to flee. I think it's very sweet. Again, a little bit of a testimony to how much of a softie she is. And then, yeah, pages, I want to say 13 and 14 were heartwarming to me. Like, I feel like that's the family that Chopper needed and wanted. They're messy, they're chaotic, they're unhinged, but they're kind, and they are loyal.
It's going to take time for him to get used to that, because I feel like he's used to a certain environment. You know?
I mean, he's a little bit like, I don't know, Edward Scissorhands living in a castle by himself. Like, it's gonna take him a minute to get used to being surrounded.
Autistic.
Yeah, to get used to being surrounded by that chaos. But I think that is what he needs, and eventually, I'm hoping, and I kind of have the expectation that he will end up thriving in that environment. And then, yeah, we had briefly seen Mr. 2, but now we're properly introduced to them. And it is something. I thought Mr. 3 looked ridiculous. Truly, I thought Mr. 3 looked ridiculous, and I had no idea what was in store for me. We'd seen glimpses of Mr. 2. I remember the swans, but then we get the whole body shot of them at page 16 and the close-up on their face at page 18, and how fucking silly they look. Like truly silly.
Yes.
Truly silly. And yeah, for some reason, it's especially notable to me that the top panel of page 18, just maybe it's their expression and everything else that I'm like, oh boy. And yeah, finally we hone in on Alabasta, where we find Miss All Sunday. Is that it? Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's Miss All Sunday and Crocodile. We kind of get an idea of the motive here, with Crocodile saying that he must keep up the appearance of the 7 warlords of the sea and that the masses idealize them. And it feels like the plot thickens. We had kind of left that little bit of the story behind us to benefit the rest of the story developing, and now I feel like we're back on it. We're back on, like, the main quest. Does that make sense? It's like we went on a side quest and now we're back on the main quest. So, yeah, that's what I had for 154.
Just to kind of continue your statements, absolutely Little Garden, and absolutely, what was the first place? The name is escaping me. Where we...
Logetown? No,
between Logetown and Little Garden.
Whiskey Peak.
Whiskey Peak. Thank you.
Yeah, Mrs. Bad Memory.
Absolutely, those put this forward, but Drum Kingdom did feel like a little detour. But we have a new member of the crew, so I get it. Beautiful opening with the narrator or what have you, just like as they leave. And the introduction of this Ace character was very mysterious. It felt very reminiscent of how Crocodile has been introduced thus far.
That's true.
And what to make of that, we will see. We also noticed that Dalton recognized Vivi early on, but he understood that she was with a group of pirates and did not question her motives.
Yeah.
He knew that she had something going on and did not push it. The Will of D. And then I wrote underneath it, and a D's nuts joke. But I feel like I pushed the D's nuts joke narrative.
Yeah,
more
I guess
than anyone,
I both Dylan and I were so like honed in on that we kind of brushed the D's nuts to the side. We brushed D's nuts to the side.
I gotta stop putting you guys in boxes. I'm so sorry. Correa clearly knows something significant, but it immediately cuts to the buffoonery of the crew, which I loved. We all, as far as I've seen, loved the slice of life, ship life stuff.
Yeah.
And then Luffy mentions, I learned this trick from Yosaku. Just a quick Yosaku reference.
Dropping names. Johnny and Yosaku. What did we call them? Johnny and not Johnny.
Johnny and not Johnny.
Yeah.
Love Chopper being flattered. Sanji calls him, and in worst case, he's emergency food supply. God damn it.
Freaking Sanji. Like, just shut up. You don't need to be an edgelord.
You don't have to eat this crew member.
No.
Try fishing first.
Yes, please.
And then, again, the most fun that Chopper's ever had. The fact that
it was sweet.
It was sweet. It was so cute. I loved it. And then Nami's kind of the fun police. Like, they're all having fun. She's like, I was having to have a heartfelt moment with their new crew member. And I gotta respect Nami for trying, but she is out of her element right now.
Yeah, that's what the... Like, read the room.
Read the room. I know you're trying to stand up for him. You think he can't handle this.
Yeah, but
he's fine. Loved all the party panels. I mean, the Straw Hats know how to throw down. And then finally, Mr. Zero, heroes to the masses, eh? And I think at least Dylan and maybe you too, V, pointed out that, like, it's an interesting twist. You know, you see a villain, but, like, he is beloved.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just to kind of wrap it up, there's a lot to digest here. Ace, the Will of D, Mr. 2, we get a little crocodile moment. There it is. It's a lot, but I feel like it was introduced appropriately, and it was a good way to kind of switch gears. Like, things are changing, things are heating up. It gets me very excited about the future, and I have a little bit more to say on the next volume, which is 155, which is V.
Yeah, I guess that's not something I had in my notes, but to make a reference back to what Dylan was saying about full body. Again, I guess it's even more clear now at the in the intro image there that's titled "So Long, You Stupid Navy Guys," and we get
looks sad.
Yeah, and we get Django kind of like mocking them while you clearly see full body's face there as a close up. Yeah, just an interesting note. Like I said, I hadn't noticed it until Dylan put it out, but now it's like, oh yeah, obviously. So the first few pages of this last chapter of the volume were pretty compelling to me. We kind of get an idea of the kind of hold that Crocodile has on Alabasta, and I feel like Oda really drove the point with the 2-page spread on pages 4 and 5.
Looming.
Crocodile is towering over the citizens, and they call him the guardian deity of Alabasta, and they call him the king of the desert. And they're, you know, in the pages previous, they're calling to him, begging to him, and it's like, okay, like, this guy is literally a king among men, or a god among men. Like, they see him as this ever-knowing, ever-powerful being, and maybe he's just a guy. I don't know. I still have a lot to discover about Crocodile, but it seems like he definitely has a hold on the nation. And we finally, again, just visually, that shot, excellent shot, really, really good one. And then, yeah, we finally get a good look at him at page 6, and I have to say, he looks hella fresh. Like, it looks to me like he's wearing a big fur coat. He has his hair slicked back.
That's a great 2-page.
You also get, like, you see the slits in his eyes. The scar underneath his eyes. He does look like a crocodile. Like, Oda did a good job at making his facial features look like those of a crocodile.
The hook hand?
And yes, then we also have the hook hand. And then also thinking about, if you look carefully at page 6, you see like the pattern on his shirt looks like the scales of a crocodile.
Scales, yeah, like the belly scales. Yeah.
Like,
I never thought about that, but yeah, I get that.
I also really like underneath, like, the whole former bounty, 81 million berries.
Berries, yeah.
And it kind of gives us like a little power level dynamic because Luffy's 30.
30 billion, yeah. Very interesting. It's an interesting introduction to a character because it's a long time coming. Like, we've had hints as to who he is and kind of what he looks like, and we knew that he existed, but we were never properly introduced to him, and now it's like, oh shit, we're there. Yeah. Like, oh, okay, this is the guy. Yeah, this is happening. Okay, I need you guys' input for this. Mm-hmm. What happened when the pirates stab him? like, did it trigger a sandstorm or something? Like, that's at pages 8 and 9.
I'm going to put myself out of this conversation.
Okay. The way he says, I'm a different breed of pirate swine was badass as fuck also. But, like, I wonder, because you see all of them lunging at him, stabbing him.
Well, my assumption is he does have
and then
devil fruit powers.
Right.
But,
so I'm also assuming that they're devil fruit powers, but it's like, once he's being stabbed, it's like everything around him is completely decimated and it leaves behind a sandstorm. And then I was like, anyway, just saying a sandstorm in my head. But yeah, bottom of page 9, how he says, I'm a different breed of pirate swine. Like,
yeah, I will say, like, how, like, all the bodies are, like, half buried definitely does give that vibe. I could see it being, like, some Gar-esque shit, where it's like, he's going to start a fight. What he does is he throws up a sandstorm, and that makes it so it's hard to track, and then he fucks everyone up.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Gar was evil, I think.
I can't
Talking about Naruto.
Yeah. But yeah, very interesting. Again, a good way to crystallize and solidify kind of our understanding of the character as he's being introduced. Also making me very much look forward to seeing more of him, I have to say. All of page 12 with Luffy and Sanji reminds me of when a dog does something or eats something that they shouldn't have. And they look guilty as fuck, but they try to act cool, like you know when they give you, like, when the dog gives you the whale eyes, like they're looking at you,
or bombastic side eye,
or does that shit.
I'm like, what are you doing, buddy? He's like,
they know you're about to put your hand in their mouth.
Oh yeah, like,
I've been there.
And again, like Dylan pointed out, even Sanji asking, "What's that in your mouth?" is exactly what a dog owner would say. Like, I don't know.
I don't think it's just dog owner. Like any pet owner or someone who has a child.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, hold on, you have Legos and you're 3 years old. And you're about to die. What do you have in your mouth?
I frequently have to ask my cats, "Why are you wet?" What has happened between?
Well, let me tell you why this. No,
Dylan, I knew exactly what you were gonna say.
I don't. But I'll let it go.
Talking about wet puss. Anyway,
you talking about WAP?
Yeah, there's a song about it.
Anyway,
all I gotta say, I don't cook. I don't clean.
I'm gonna
tell you how I got this ring.
Okay, Dylan. Yeah, so over between the pages, I want to say it lasts between pages 14 and 17. We get a nice, thick, juicy lore dump. And I feel like it's a little bit overdue, in a sense, because we've been in that arc for a while now, and we're only now getting some pretty core information. I still really enjoyed reading what Vivi had to say, and I liked seeing the sort of organizational chart of the hierarchy of Baroque works. It's kind of terrifying to realize that the Unluckies actually execute the agents that fail. Like, we low-key kind of knew, but it was never explicitly said that they're the...
They always show up when somebody fucked up, and now we're like, yeah, that's their job.
It's because they kill them. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, they don't just punish, they kill them.
Not so cute when they're mass murderers, huh?
I know, but he's still cute with the little hat and the little glasses.
The bird's dumb as shit. The otter, I get it.
Yes.
But once he comes out with some clamshell knives, he's catching some lead.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we're not going to reiterate that whole thing, but we can think about it. Anyway. And yes. It's that otter, it's haunting me in my dreams.
He's going to stab me in my sleep.
Honestly, if I have to go and it's in my sleep, alright.
A murderous otter with a knife? That's one way to go. That's not the worst way you could go.
Oh my god, it was so gruesome but adorable at the same time. It was weird.
So cute.
Yeah. It's a maniacal murder. There's body pieces everywhere, but he's adorable.
He was wearing sunglasses and a little hat.
Did you see how he was cracking shells on his tummy?
And
I feel like he can get away with community service.
He can change.
It cuts to a clip of like a pod of otters like drowning a chimp.
Oh,
Fuck.
They do that. I've seen a video of that where they just drag it into the water.
That's a little gruesome.
They're mean. They're adorable as shit, but the death is behind those adorable
They
little
work
eyes.
as a team.
They do. There's been a recent story where a guy was like, "Yeah, I was just swimming in the river, and then I started getting attacked by otters." It's like I've never been so terrified and like enthralled at the same time.
Endeared, yeah.
Oh, look at their little teeth! They're trying to drag me underwater.
Let me take a picture.
I might die, but this is kawaii as shit, dude.
Kawaii is shit. FR.
Sorry, that was weird. Otters are cute tangent.
Yes. I mean,
It got weird.
it is factual.
It got really weird.
And we do get weird. That's okay. That's part of what makes us us.
What's our charm?
It is.
Keep telling myself that.
It is. I like us. I think we're charming. But yeah, so as we are finishing up this chapter and this volume, we are clearly gearing up towards the end of Baroque works. Also, we're not there yet, but we are getting there. As Nami points out that the rest of the officer agents will be converging onto Alabasta for what I can only assume will be the final showdown. Curious to see what the matchups are going to be, because that's kind of always a thing, as we've seen in the previous showdowns or not encounter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Showdown's close enough.
Yeah. So we've seen that happen, and I'm curious to see what it's going to look like this time around. It's super exciting. I'm looking forward to it. And, it ends with that nice shot of the officer agents at the bottom of page 19. They're all like shaded and looking very dark. Even in this context, Mr. 2, they look kind of creepy, even with the swans. Like, it's working for them.
Well, that's a massive person. You didn't get to see any scale to it. That dude
they're
is
super tall.
big.
Yeah.
Or they are big.
Yeah, you can call them dude. You can call me dude.
For me,
Everyone's dude.
bro, guy, those are all unisex terms to me.
Yeah.
There's no gender to it. It's just a term of familiarity.
Defining a
Familiarity
person. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I had for 155 and as the culmination of this volume. Dylan?
All right. Yes. My thing is like with the cover art is like the story we've learned about Django is he is a failed dancer. He went to Funky Town. He participated in the dance competition and won it, and everyone there was like, fuck yeah, this dude rocks, let's party. Never was discovered as Django. Why'd he leave? Start a new life, dude. Like, people didn't pick up who you are, even though it's pretty easy.
Maybe he wanted to slip out before someone did figure out. I don't know.
I mean, I get it,
guess.
but for me, I feel like your dream was to become a dancer and you failed at it, but then you went to another place and you thrived at it. It's like, dude,
Yeah,
take
but I
that
feel like
shot.
it's only a matter of time before, the government.
When
Right.
it happens, you come around.
You're brushing shoulders with a lieutenant.
Well, in that case, it's like, also, he's got hypnotism powers. It's like, hey, look, I did this because I thought I could never do what I want to do. I can do what I want to do. How about I become part of your anytime you need to interrogate a guy, you call me in. Let me be me. Let me dance.
All right.
You call me in for interrogations. And that's how I'll
I
pay
don't
off my
think we're
debt.
quite done. We're done with the volume, but I don't think we're quite done with Django.
No, I don't think so either. And it's weird for me with Django, because the D is silent, because I just love, Django Unchained.
Yeah, I know you
Such
love
a
it.
good fucking, dude, a buddy
I know,
of
it's
mine
so
read
good.
it from Redbox. It's like, hey, you're getting a late fee, because I'm going to rewatch this several times over 3 days.
Worth it.
Such good. Yeah, he was paying for it. It was free for me. But then again, it's like this, the cutting into the actual chapter, this is where you really see what I was talking about, the Homelander vibes. Oh, they're like, oh, Sir Crocodile, thank God he's come to save us. He's our hero. Silence, you ignorant peasants. I've only come for the head of those pirates. My hero, he always says that when he comes saves us. That's not a hero, dog. That's not good. That's an egotistical maniac who is saving you to further inflame his ego. The only reason you're saving him is because saving you is the bellows of his ego. And he just gets that much more praise and fans the flames. The 2-page spread on 4 and 5, awesome. Great artwork. Love that. And the thing is all the fights cool and stuff. And also the whole thing, it's like everyone stabs him, haha, he's dead. And it's just like looking off into the distance and then the eye shifts, that anime trope. Super badass. Like, anytime like an ass whooping's coming, it's like it's that, and it's like, haha, you're dead. It's like, swoop. No, you're first. That's the vibe that glare gives. But kind of cool to see. And then, like, as he finishes him up, you see him walking out with, assumably, a bag of goodies.
I thought it was bodies, but it might be shit, like treasure or something.
Well, if he's the leader of Baroque Works, he's not getting paid for the bodies. That's what he pays other people to get the bodies.
True.
But my interesting thing is it cuts back to the king of Albasta. And it's just like the irony of it's like Baroque Works is trying to take over Albasta to make their own civilization. And the king is like, damn, well, we're indebted to him. But it's like his daughter went and joined them in secret to be like, oh yeah, no, they're trying to overthrow the kingdom. It's like, what's the deal? Did you assume your daughter died?
He's not a part of this.
Well, my thing is like, what? It's like, when she did it, did she like fake her death? So you assume she was dead, and you don't know that she went off and worked with Baroque Works. But if that's not the case, it's like, how did she not tell you? It's like, hey, Mr. Crocodile, he's not a good dude. He's coming for us. He's trying to take over the kingdom. So that was an interesting beat. And then again, like any pet owner or parent, you're at that age where bright plastic seems really edible, but does not fit down your throat. That was hilarious. And I love the fact that it's like Sanji kicks the shit out of him. It's like, it was you. And then you cut to everybody else fishing and they're all munching.
Yeah.
But Sanji makes up.
Really guilty.
Sanji, although he's like swooning and calling out praises to his queen, makes a really good point. It's like, hey, like, if I'm going to be your cook, I need to be able to lock up the cupboards. Because in areas where rationing needs to be a thing, I need to be able to control our inventory of food. Smart. It's a little unfortunate that you're having this thought here out. But I will admit, seeing all of them fishing and shit, it's like, okay, I know where I'd fit in with the crew. I would just be the motherfucker who hangs out on the boat all day trying to catch fish. Probably won't catch many, but I'm trying. I'm putting the effort in. And every now and then we get something we can eat. Like, something you can eat. You let me eat the meat, you get to eat the fish, because I don't like seafood. Although, listeners, fried conch, really fucking good. And then the explanation, it's like, oh, he's a hero there. That's fucked. And I did like seeing the list of the higher-ups of Baroque Works. And I'm very curious about who's Mr. 4. We skipped 4 and went to 3. Who's Mr. 1?
Crocodile is Mr. 1, isn't it? No,
No,
Crocodile
he's
is 0, yeah.
Either we will see, or
And then again, I also like the little tidbit of Mr. Bon Clay, no female partner. He doesn't want one. Kind of ties back into the whole thing. It's like Mr. Miss.
Yeah, they can be both.
they are their own partner.
Yeah.
But that was a cool, like, again, that's a lot of just information being given, but very, very critical information, very necessary information.
Yeah, very
cool
pertinent at this point.
Because you get to look at it and be like, oh, okay. Now shit's starting to make a little bit of sense.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying it could have been pertinent to find that out a little bit earlier. I'm not mad that it's happening now, but I'm like,
Well, I get it, because the Vivi's at the point, it's like, no, I definitely can trust you guys. You guys look at me in the sense of, it's like, I'm your friend and I want to save my kingdom, so you're going to do
They
everything
put everything
in your power.
out there.
Yeah.
You can take them at their word for the most part.
And I love, like, the middle panel of 18. Well, because you have Luffy being like, oh yeah, then we'll get this crocodile out, kick its butt. And so you'd be like, you really didn't pay any attention, did you? It's like, you remember how Mihawk? Yeah. How he kind of clapped our cheeks? And he's considered one of the lower ranked guys? Yeah. But I love the middle shot of that page. Shows Usopp's attempt at carpentry. You get to see the wrap on the mast where he repaired the mast. You get to see him putting like scrap wood up to try and seal what Wapol ate.
He's doing his best.
I think over time, it's one of those things, like, I'm not the ship's carpenter. I think over time, he's just going to, out of necessity, develop that skill. You're going to see it get better and better.
Okay.
Because they didn't have fishing gear before, but now you look at what they're fishing on. Back then, there's some decent round reels. Guy's got a little bit of engineering talent, so, you know.
He does.
I think going further on, that's going to be one of his side jobs. And then, the fucking Baroque Works, they'll be coming, like, the officers are going to be coming together. Just that dark, that's...
yeah.
If it is something that's like where they all show up and the Straw Hats have to throw down against the higher-ups of Baroque Works, that's going to be fire. There's going to be a lot of really interest. And I don't think it's something they're going to be able to do in one volume. I think that thing, it's going to take 3 or 4 volumes. It's going to be like,
yeah, I'm
all
thinking...
right, this one crew member's taking on these Baroque officers. We're going to do that volume. And then we're going to cut back.
How long did it take in Arlong Park? It took, like, at least
2 or 3 volumes.
So I'm guessing it'll be 1 volume on top of how many it was for Arlong Park. So I want to say at least 3 volumes is what I'm thinking.
That's all I got. Because I feel like this chapter specifically was like, all right, we had the nice bow put on it last chapter, super wholesome, super great. This is just building up suspense for the next chapter.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, I'm going to give you something to look forward to. Wow.
Yeah, I think you're close. So I will say the opening, I'm going to skip past the intro image because I feel like you guys nailed it. Nanohana, it looks like a nice place to be. But also, we're seeing Alabasta for the first time. That's big.
Yeah.
It's always a good start to call your adoring populace ignorant peasants. I was like, I don't remember that, but he's putting himself out there right from the get-go. And they are on it. They get it, but they don't care. This is a people who needs something. They need more than their...
Yes, we are dirty peasants.
Yeah.
We die without you.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's kind of a, like...
He called me a dirty slut, and I loved it.
Yeah, it's kind of an abusive relationship. But, like, when an actually abusive one, not one where you just abuse each other once in a while because you're into that. Like, a real abusive relationship.
No, exactly.
That's like, oh, my lord, if you feel me as a filthy peasant, you may as well spit on me. Please, I insist.
Oh, God. Honestly, yes. The top page 3, that's like the leader of these no-name pirates who are here. He looks like a goon. He absolutely looks like a no-name pirate.
He absolutely does.
And
What's his name?
I don't know if he's even given one.
Exactly.
I said, oh, that's a good 2-pager.
Yeah.
And then the full body, yes, baby, let's go. The hook, the scar, the cloak.
That was
a good shot.
Magnificent, yeah.
Bro is pure swag.
Yeah.
And then we cut back to the ship. Sanji kicks his friends more so far than he's kicked opponents. Like, he kicks Luffy for eating the food, but, like, he hasn't kicked in 5-6 volumes. At least
That's
not
fair.
a significant kick. Like, come on.
Yeah,
Give this man...
blocked a hairball.
He needs a moment.
Exactly.
We're
He
due
needs
for a Sanji moment, and I hope
So
we
I'm
get
excited
that.
for all the Baroque work showing up because I think he's going to get a large moment in that.
I hope so.
I think everyone is. I think everyone's going to get a moment.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And then, we get some interesting information from Vivi. You know, she talks about how everyone is paired. I can't find the exact equally guilty quote, but it does speak something towards human nature that these people are latching on to Crocodile, who is obviously a villain. And it speaks to, I think, power and the void that power brings for the people who are not ready to stand up for themselves, about how people will kind of latch on to any kind of semblance of normalcy. I don't know if normalcy is right. Stability, I think, is a better word. And I think that's very true. You know, we can say, yeah, that's wrong. You're wrong. This, that, the other is wrong. Until we're in a situation in which we have to, you know, kind of cling to whatever we can to keep going. Also, if you guys would turn your attention to page 16, the middle panel, Zoro is just sleeping through all this. And then page 15, he's snoring. He does not give a ever-living shit about what is going on around him. If Luffy says go, you go.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about the context.
No, he'll come through if it matters. But,
Exactly.
like, the reasons why? Meh.
Yeah. He knows the difference between right and wrong, and he can recognize it, but he knows that this is not a conversation for him, which I think we've kind of touched on a little bit in the past. But I love it. I love Zoro's borderline neutrality. He's a straw hat to the core, and he recognizes the authority of Luffy. But, I mean, it was interesting. Liked the chart of Baroque works, and then a killer shot to end on. The agents all just kind of menacing. And then, alright, so I've held this in long enough, but I am fanboying hard. Crocodile is not only one of my favorite villains in One Piece, but he's one of my favorite characters, period.
Really?
I mean, I get it.
Okay.
As someone who...
Which, knowing how much we have ahead of us, it's like, oh shit. Alright, he's got to be pretty fucking significant.
He's cool. He is cool. I'm a big fan of, like, mobster/gangster movies and shit. And this is the Don Corleone of this universe. He's pulling at the threads that keep a nation together. He can see his place to be, and he knows how to use it, I guess is the best way to put it. And his shot on page 6, oh my god.
It's great.
It exudes gangster energy. Again, I'm not speaking towards what he does or doesn't do, but like he just gives the energy that I love. As a huge fan of Scarface, Godfather, Goodfellas, all that shit, this is it. And then, maybe this chapter was good, but I absolutely loved it, and I'm so excited for what it's ushering in. You guys kind of touched on how long this will be, and spoilers be damned. This is going to be the longest arc we have seen yet. It's going to be 4+ volumes.
Okay.
Of Alabasta.
And I am noting just in terms of size of volumes, I did notice that the next volume is our first 11 chapter volume.
Ooh.
I think that's close to the longest that we will run into, but 10 does become the norm, at least for a while. I've only been a little bit ahead, but...
Well, 11 makes me think it's going to be a lot of fights.
I think you guys are going to really like the next volume. There's a lot of cool shit that happens, and let me go ahead and switch into wrap-up mode here. This is just the beginning. I have said it before. The Alabasta arc is what sells a lot of people on One Piece.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Personally, I love it. I absolutely adore this arc in so many ways, especially because the villain is so my style. This is my guy. But let me kind of rewind a little bit to speak on the volume that we've just read. I enjoyed a lot of what this volume offered, but for a kind of transition volume, some of the action kind of fell flat. Did Luffy get hit even once was a question I asked. And I
He took a couple direct shots from the cannons, but like fisticuffs? No.
Yeah, right, you are right. He did take that, but he was fine afterwards. I don't feel like Luffy was ever in any danger. Sanji, of course, was. And then Chopper was certainly not. Chopper handled his...
Actually, I'll let you finish. I have thoughts, but I'll let you finish.
Dylan?
I'll say he got fucked up, but he got like his only time of getting fucked up was because of his own ignorance.
Right.
It's like, I'm not going to hurt you, but you need to leave right now. And then he took that blow, and everybody's like, "Yo, bro, it's not the time." It's like, "Oh, okay."
Right.
Because he handled.
To Straw Hats or future Straw Hats kind of happened kind of quickly, and it didn't seem significant. It felt like one where the Straw Hats were in control for the most part. Again, Nami and Sanji being knocked out. But Sanji didn't come in and save the day or anything. Yeah,
it almost had like a Alvida vibes. It wasn't handled that easily, but at the same time...
Exactly.
Kind of not a bother.
No Sanji really let me down. He had so many moments to shine. But I will say, it did keep up the sweet, heartfelt, emotional beats from the last chapter very well. I think this one was a little bit more hopeful than the last chapter, which is a good way to end. You don't want it all to be fucking sad and shit. I don't know that I liked it less, but it was certainly less impactful, I think, than the previous volume. It was just different, maybe is the best way to put it. It was impactful in a different way. Alabasta was set up well, with some wonderful hints at what's to come. I think that overall this volume kind of dipped from what we came from in the previous, very, flashback-centered volume. But I didn't hate it, and I think it ended on a very strong note. I think that was killer. And, so I think Dylan started us off. So, Dylan, you will get the first shot at the final thoughts on the volume.
This definitely felt like a Straw Hats had this shit handled. Like, this whole arc is like, the Straw Hats never really were any kind of, danger. It was just Nami was incredibly sick and in danger of dying. And that's where the suspense came from. Because even when, Wapol and them caught up to him, it was just in his mind, he's like, all right, let me handle some little bitch boys. But it's like, oh, fuck. Nami's sick. Shit. All right, let me... Guys, hey, man, I hate to say, I want to fight right now. I'm sorry, guys. But, She's got a sniffle and a cough. It's a little worrying. I'm going to take her to the ER. Like, but after that, catch up. Like, once I get this settled, we can handle this. And that's how it played out.
Yeah.
But like,
Tony Chopper's joining of the crew was well done. I like that. You get to see like the beats of him being like, I can't. I'm a monster. And then the Straw Hats being like, the Straw Hats essentially just being like some fucking motherfucker would be like, normal's just a setting on the dryer, buddy. It definitely their energy, and it's just like it really called it out when Sanji's like, oh yeah, it's like, let me tell you for the 5th time, he's made out of rubber. Technically, he's some kind of monster. That to me was like, all right, there's a fight going on in the background, but this is like the Straw Hats just showing who they are to like, and Tony seeing who they truly are, being comfortable with it, and being like, oh, okay, if anyone's going to accept me, it would be these people. And that seems what this volume really tried to drive in.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
Yeah. That's all I got.
I guess kind of to what you guys were saying, this volume felt low stakes. And I'm not saying that it wasn't important, because I do feel like it was important in driving the story forward. And, you know, we have the introduction of a new Straw Hat, and like it had plenty of meaningful moments, but it felt low stakes. Like you said, I never once felt like the Straw Hats were in any real sort of danger. And I guess I'm still figuring out what I feel about that, whether or not I like it or don't. On the one hand, reasonably, they can't be in danger all the time. Like, maybe they needed that little bit of a breather, but at the same time, I understand why it makes it a little bit harder to
digest, perhaps?
Yeah. Or I don't know. I guess I'm noticing that the story is still being driven forward, but in a different way as it has previously. It's a change of narrative medium or narrative technique. Like, we're still getting there. It's different. And I guess part of me wants to see how else Oda can bring that forward. And then part of me is also like, well, I don't mind when, you know, they get out of a thorny situation by the skin of their asses. You know, like I kind of like the high stakes environment, but at the same time, I can't say that I dislike the low stakes either. It's just different. Does that make sense? Like, it's
Absolutely.
Just different. But, you know, as I was saying, all of it was very meaningful, and there are several moments that I really liked in this volume. There are some that I didn't like as much. As I was pointing out, I felt like Wapple's end fell a little bit flat for me. It didn't feel as final, or, again, maybe not as impactful as I wanted it to be. Like, it didn't feel like Arlong Park, like, shattering to the ground and seeing Arlong's face all, like, bloodied up on the pavement.
May I interject?
Go ahead, yeah.
So, the previous two, we'll say the mini arcs, were symptoms of a larger arc. You know, the Baroque works.
Okay.
Mr. 3 was not the top, and I can't even remember who they fought in Whiskey Peak. But Drum Island felt like Drum Island felt like its own thing, completely detached almost from the rest, besides the small threads.
And I guess
I definitely understand what you're saying.
I guess that's why I'm relating it to something that feels like it would be more of a, like, final boss type of thing. Whereas in actuality, and that's something
a mini-boss.
Right, in actuality, and I had brought this up earlier, Baroque Works is bigger, right? It's a lot bigger, and we're already, you know, a few volumes in, and we're only now getting towards, like, the end of this. We're gearing up towards the end of it. Because, yeah, like, Whiskey Peak feels like it's been ages ago at this point. So I guess my sense of time and my sense of perspective might be a little bit skewed on that. But,
right.
I don't know. I guess in my mind, I was expecting more of Wapple's end. But beyond that, you know, like I was saying, I really liked solidifying Chopper as being one of the Straw Hats. A lot of really meaningful and heartfelt moments with Kuriha and the the cherry blossom snowflakes and whatnot, and then gearing up, we get the introduction, like the proper introduction of Crocodile, which I agree with you, Michael. He is a badass, and I can't wait to see more of him.
Yes.
I'm very excited to get to know him more. I feel like he's gonna give me like
I still want more Smoker.
like badass vibes. Like I don't know, like I'm gonna love to hate him and hate to love him is what I'm getting just at first glance when first like laying eyes on Crocodile. So I'm excited to see where that goes. But yeah, super excited to see what's next.
I will agree with the whole kind of like underwhelming end of Wapol. It's like, oh yeah, he's pretty much like dead off camera.
Well, because it felt important, right?
Yeah.
Like we're in this completely new environment. We're facing this.
Well, he's a tyrannical leader of
Right.
this kingdom, and then it's just like, oh, he's gone.
Right. And then in that story, we're bringing about also a new Straw Hat, which in previous instances, when you're bringing about a new Straw Hat, it's more, I don't want to say important, but it's
involved. More involved.
Right, exactly. Like when Sanji's being introduced to the Straw Hats, it's a lot more, like, I think that's a good word, involved. Whereas, and again, I think maybe that's not a bad thing, that the whole Chopper being introduced thing is maybe relies more on emotion and human connection, and rather than relying on the outcome of a fight to solidify someone's place in the group.
I like where you're coming at from.
So maybe it's just a change of pace that I just wasn't quite expecting. So that's what I'm going to say it is, because overall I did really enjoy this volume. I'm just kind of being nitpicky and noting
you have
a difference. Yeah.
We could just say everything's cool, this was fun, and move on.
We wouldn't have much of a podcast if that was the case.
I'm here for the nitpicks. I'm here for it. All right, let me go ahead and turn your guys' attention to the next volume. I think you might have a little bit to say here. Maybe not a ton, but more than you have. So, this is...
Oh, is that Ace? Sorry.
Maybe.
What a stud.
Hi. I mean...
So, it's in Japanese, but if you were looking at this in English perspective, the name is Introducing Ace, is the next volume. So, take that as you will. Any thoughts on what you see here?
The desert, which is very Alabasta.
You think we're going to get there next time?
I mean, maybe. I would be inclined to think so.
Okay.
It's just seeing everyone super thirsty, other than Nami and Vivi.
The women don't have to drink water. They're women.
That's a well-known fact.
This woman always be thirsty, am I right, guys?
Oh, God. I hate that you're right.
Sorry.
I can't count the times Chelsea would be like, will you give me some water?
Different type of
thirst. Like actually thirsty. What were you thinking, B?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, so Ace is hot.
Oh, hell yeah.
I guess something I'm noticing, just the color scheme. Luffy's the only one that's like wearing red, and it stands out a lot against the like brown and yellow and greens of this whole thing. Yeah.
Camel seal looking motherfucker.
Behind. There's that, and then right beside Nami's face also.
Just below Luffy is Chopper. He looks dead.
Yes, he does.
He does have X's over his eyes, which is a traditional. He doesn't fucking know it, but that's a traditional sign of fucking death. He's like, no, I just did this to make sure you guys know I was having a good time.
Yeah,
that's not what it means, you fucking idiot.
I'm just trying to copy you guys. Anything on your side, Dylan? Anything you want to point out?
I mean, no, it seems like they're really. We'll see how much it translates into the actual volume, but it seems like they're really pushing the desert vibe that Alabasta is supposed to have.
Right. All right. And with that, I'll go ahead and draw a close to 17. I'll lift the embargo on 18. I do believe that this next volume is special. It's certainly special to me, and I think you guys will enjoy it, but we will see next time on Pod Fruit. I want to thank you guys for joining in, and with that, I will bring this to a close. Thank you, listeners, for listening, and until next time, bon voyage.
Bon voyage.
Ciao, Bella.